Hello everyone, welcome to the MNLCS. This is going to be day 1 of week 2, and we'll be having game number 1 be between Gustavus and the UMNA team. Now, last time we saw both of these teams play fairly well in the 2, and we'll be having, I believe UMNA ended up losing, while Gustavus ended up not... Yeah, they ended up losing as well. So both these teams are in the lower parts of the bracket at the moment, and this will be deciding which team gets above the other within these standings. However, it is only the second week of games, so it's not like there's too much of high stakes at hand. But joining us today is going to be your play-by-play caster, Jupiter Alter, and your color caster, Fen. Now, Jupiter, how do you think this game is going to be?
Well, I mean, really it comes down to like certain pocket picks, especially now because if we're to compare it to LCS, which is quite a bit of a stretch, obviously, where it's a lot more organized and refined, things aren't turning out exactly as we expected. We're seeing weird pocket picks, and I've heard some rumors about the pocket picks that happen here at the MNLCS. So I guess we'll have to wait and see for Champ Select.
Yeah, we've had quite a few interesting picks already, I'd have to say. And I do agree with you. We just have to wait until Champion Select. We can't really try to predict too much. We could try and go off of what we saw beforehand, which the only thing we really have for certain is that Camille's 100% pick ban right now. That's the only thing that has stayed consistent, but that is mostly because she is just a very strong champion in general. I imagine with the next patch 7.3, once that comes out this week, that there will be a change in that because she's getting a very heavy nerf. And I'm interested to see what will be taking Camille's place as one of those high priority picks and bans.
Well, I think even if she were to get nerfed, maybe it won't have to be so severe because Poppy tends to be able to do well if it's a skill matchup because there's a lot of ways where she can kind of bounce Camille off of her.
Yeah, that is actually very true. That's a good point. How do you think that would fare in terms of team fights or split pushing when it comes to trying to take the towers, which seems to be a very powerful way to snowball in this current meta?
Oh, definitely. Especially now that we have like the powerful top lane or the powerful pick of Camille in the top lane, right? Because while she kind of has an awkward time in team fights because she kind of just like throws down her ult and then it's like, sweet, but you know, like she's in this awkward position where in team fights, unless she's played like super concisely, she kind of ends up standing around being a bit awkward. And additionally, she is a really good split pusher, right? Especially with her hook shot and her wall dives to give her more mobility. I believe if Camille does, whichever team gets Camille, or if she goes through bans, that is, whichever team gets her, definitely is probably going to look to split push more than team fight with her. It's always been just what she's been better at. Especially if the other team picks Poppy into Camille, because Poppy's just going to slam her out as soon as possible.
Yeah, Poppy has been a very strong pick against Camille, especially since one of Camille's strongest suits is her E ability, the grappling hook, in order to make it so she can engage from a very far range. But Poppy completely denies that with her W, and it also is a very strong move when it comes to stopping jungle ganks, which are very helpful when trying to snowball Camille. And as we all know, she is one of those champions that once she starts to get ahead, she is very hard to stop because of her extremely high mobility and her ability to single out whoever she wants and kill them very fast. But let's go on a different topic aside from Camille. We do have almost everyone in here as of right now. And the way that I'm going to be seeing this is I feel like we'll be seeing a similar pattern in the first week of games where everything is a little bit quiet in the early stages of the game, but then the moment one fight happens, it's just a constant barrage of fight after fight in order to sway the side from one team to the other in terms of who has control of the game.
I mean, it's definitely something that can happen. I think now more than ever, that comes down more to lanes, right? Because I feel now more than ever, bottom lane tends to be a bit more lane focused, right? Especially now that we have like Jhin and Varus being really strong with armor, or not armor penetration, lethality.
Yeah, that is also a very good point to make. With the buffs to lethality, we did see a lot of builds incorporating those items, especially Yomu's Ghostblade and Edge of Night. It's very strong on champions such as Jin and Misfortune, who are very ult-reliant, and being able to proc the Edge of Night before you go into your ultimate allows you to stay guaranteed one utility spell safe. However, we also still see some picks such as Lucian and Ashe being picked up just because of their raw damage potential as of right now.
Yeah, I feel especially with these poke comps that we're seeing a lot, just in general, whether it be solo queue or up to the LCS, we're seeing a lot of poke comps. And if you're picking an AD carry like Jin, like Lucian, or not Lucian, like Jin, like Varus, where you're trying to just poke, it kind of makes you want to play a kill lane where you just dive right into them before you can get chunked down. That's where you would play like your Dravens, your Lucians. You're trying to bully them before they can poke you down.
I feel like a better poke champion would probably be Ezreal just because of his extreme range and his ability to get the Sheen procs early on once he picks it up, and it deals extra damage. Granted, he is very weak to heavy wave clear ADCs, which, speaking of heavy wave clear ADCs, I still have yet to see a single Ziggs bot lane appear in the MNLCS so far.
I think the Ziggs cheese, the AP carry meme, is kind of dying down a little bit. It's definitely still gonna be there, but I feel now that kind of Varus and Jin and like these poke lethality AD carries have kind of taken the spotlight. Maybe hopefully coming from AD carry, I mean we can just move away from AP carries in the bottom lane.
Yeah, that is a fair point, and also it is something to kind of be difficult for building a meta around when it's so new. Yes, you could bring it in for something very niche as a counter pick, like we see with the Misfortune support being brought in for Zyra counter and Malzahar counter, but Ziggs ADC hasn't been refined enough to really know what it counters. The only thing that's seen as strong against is Caitlyn, just because he's one of the few champions that outranges her regularly. And we haven't seen really many Caitlyn's. The other champions, they do fine enough once they can get in range, so Ziggs is actually threatened by them.
Yeah, something I wanted to build up upon when you brought up Ezreal, I feel we don't see him as much just because he doesn't synchronize as well with the lethality popularity in the bottom lane. Because, like you said, you're going with a tier, you're going into Manamune, you're not exactly building Yumu's into Edge of Night.
Yeah, that's really true. And we are just waiting for the teams to round themselves up. And we have a little bit of an issue right now. It turns out that apparently Gustavus wants to try and change the role between their jungle and top laner. However, that is not allowed. You have to register any change to your roles before the game starts by at least an hour, which they did not do. Wait, no. Oh, actually, never mind. It was submitted. It is their jungler who is... Okay, I'm going to have to ask him about this, but in the meantime, one thing we can continue to discuss is going to be... Last time we saw some of the biggest weaknesses with these teams was being able to have jungle control when they're behind. And what seemed to be the case was a lack of warding to make sure that the jungler was safe on their own side. How do you think that this time around they could try and play around that known weakness to ensure it won't happen again?
So if you know that you're not warding as well, right, and you're going against junglers who will abuse that, okay? Something that's going to happen, and something that I feel people are kind of hesitant to do because they don't want to seem like douchebags, you're just going to have to literally tell your teammates exactly when to ward. That's the value of a shot caller. You need somebody reminding your team, or just everybody in the team taking responsibility and like, hey, ward, let's not get like screwed over how we did last time, right? Just literally actively communicating to ward. If there's a blind part on the map and you know that's going to get abused by the enemy jungler, you need to have somebody on top of that.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. And I feel like there's also a lack of control where it's being purchased, which is something that wasn't really mentioned or noticed at all throughout those games. The only people that really bought control rewards were the supports. And every now and then you see jungler pick it up if they're going for Dragon or Baron. But I feel like having a ward that is constantly there until it's destroyed is very good for buff control as well, just because of how powerful the buffs are in the early and mid game stages, especially for mid lane right now. There are so many control mages in the mid lane or assassins that really need that mana to constantly go in and just kill their targets one after another. And if you can take that blue buff away, that can really strip them of their power and threats.
Definitely. I feel like the thing that makes the control wards kind of awkward for everybody to buy is it's kind of an undervalued item, right? It's nice because you can stack it 3 times, but it's an item where you can almost forget to buy it unless you're actively thinking, I need to buy wards. So in that sense, I can see why it's not something that's being so popularized. But again, how we're talking about, especially trying to keep buff control and junglers away from you, are going to have to call each other out on that. They're going to have to tell their people, like, this is what we need to do.
Yeah, another thing they could look for is that if they ward around and see that the buff is about to be stolen and they don't want to risk confrontation, they could always just swap buffs. We see that a lot in the early game, especially with invades. I mean, last time we saw it where both junglers started their blues, then they went to the opposing side's red buffs and just took them without ever meeting each other, and they weren't even playing that out. It's not like it was warded up or anything for them to know that they were just going to do that. From what it looked like, they're planning to meet each other at the red buffs and kill each other. They just both planned the same thing, so they accidentally messed up.
Yeah, ships in the night.
Yeah, and the way in which I feel like they could try and take advantage of that type of style where you invade the jungle really early on could be from really aggressive supports early, which do include the mage supports that we mentioned earlier, Zyra, Malzahar, Misfortune. They
Super
do have
popular. Yeah.
But I feel like we could also see a return of some champions such as Thresh.
Thresh, I believe there's always going to be a spot for Thresh. Even in these cases where the Zyras and the AP supports will be really strong and dominant, there's always going to be a spot for Thresh just because of how well-rounded his kit is, right? You have a hook for an engage, lantern, the box, the flame. He just works really well in the bottom lane. He's always going to be this like niche pick.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a Thresh main myself. He's very versatile, very strong. I just feel like with early jungle control being a priority, he would be one of those huge priority picks for support with the way that people in MNLCS have been playing, just because he has so much strong early crowd control with his death sentence and the flay that you can deny any disengage from the enemy jungler, especially if they have a dash. The flay can stop any dash. There's nothing that it can stop except a blink. So Ezreal Arcane Shift, Kassadin Ultimate, those are the only things that are exceptions are in that. A well-timed flay can guarantee a kill.
Yeah, it's so pressuring the bottom lane too if you're going against that as an AD carry or even a support. Thresh creates so much pressure. It's insane. It can make simple farming just really stressful because you're constantly having to look for that threat that lies in Thresh.
Yeah, and we are just trying to get the last person that we need for the spectation into here, and then we'll be going straight into game number 1.
I'm excited. It's going to be interesting to see just kind of if we see any little kind of surprising picks or bans.
Yeah, I am still interested in seeing if there is any research being done on either team to get the priority picks and bans out of the way just for the target selection. Now, again, we're talking a whole lot about this jungle pressure that has been very important throughout these games. And I want to see whether or not they target ban junglers, or if they'd rather target ban a specific laner that they would want to have carry, such as if they want a top laner to carry, they'll ban all the counters to whoever that top laner wants to play. Something like that.
I don't know. I feel, yeah, if more teams do research, which is something we want to see, right? You know, we want really smart teams to kind of be able to pressure their opponents, right? By banning out certain picks. I don't know if it's being done, but it'd be the next step, right? For these teams. It's like if you're looking to improve, make sure you're having a team communicate, maybe start doing more and more research on the opponents that you're going against. Although we are kind of still early in our split, so doing in-depth research could probably be a bit hard to do. It's definitely something that should be not considered so lightly. It should be taken pretty heavily as a responsibility.
Yeah, and I feel like that's where coordinators for a team can really help because they can gather the information while the players focus purely on building mechanical and macro gameplay skills. Meanwhile, you could have someone work as an analyst on the sidelines to get what they need. And we are going to be getting into the game in just a second. Now, all right. We have everyone in order. We have everyone in game. I'm going to be backing out. And I'm going to be introducing you to the color caster that will be joining us for this evening. His name is Donahue. So everyone in the chat, please give a warm welcome to Donahue. He is just joining us, and he will be your color caster for this evening alongside Jupiter Alter for play-by-play.
Hey.
Right now his mic is just muted, so he needs to unmute it.
There we go. Welcome back, my friend.
I am here. Hello, friends.
Alright, so we'll begin its champion select in just a moment. And go ahead and enjoy these matches.
We must all make our choices.
Karma being banned outright. Now that's an interesting thing you don't see all the time.
Definitely. I can see why it's becoming a lot more popular. It's something that we were talking about in the game setup, where AP supports are really, really useful in this bottom lane, especially one such as Karma, where you have the root, you have the shields, you have the speed up. Camille being banned, we were talking about that as well. 100% pick ban rate. Gonna follow that up with a Nocturne.
Again, you were also talking about jugglers and how important early jungle ganking or invading has been, and Karma's really strong, especially early with those enhanced skills. Vi also getting banned away, so it looks like they're really trying to take out a lot of hard-hitting damage based junglers.
Definitely.
Also a lot of mobility being banned away on the red side.
No cure for fools.
Definitely. We're seeing, I feel, definitely some target bans coming in from Riven, or coming in with the Riven and the Yasuo as bans. Instantly going to pick up the Fiora top, though.
And to see, all three of those heroes banned on the red side are going to be all very mobile, very attack damage heavy. So maybe they're looking to play a team that won't have to build as much armor because of that. But again, Fiora being also another damage-based carry. I don't know.
We see Varus and Kha'Zix picked up from UMNA, which is great. Honestly, Varus super strong as an AD carry now with lethality. Kha'Zix super popular again as a jungler. We were talking about junglers. He's one that can do early ganks, but he also is a huge damage dealer and great for picking out backline targets or just getting picks in general.
Especially when we get into that late game, if you have a fed Kha'Zix, that's something your AD carry does not want to see. That is something that is terrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying for any squishy in general. The Corki, I believe, is probably going to be going down the mid lane. We also see Nautilus.
Again, Corki being a very, very good response to having a very mobile, damage-dealing jungler as a way of escape with that Valkyrie. It's going to be very, very crucial. Nautilus, that's just got to be their main frontline right there.
Yeah, definitely. Plus, Nautilus has his ultimate, which really can mess up a whole team, right? If you're ulting somebody in the backline, that'll mess up anybody on the opposing team's frontline.
Or especially if you're messing up someone, like if Kha'Zix gets in too deep and he's trying to get away, sending that death charge after them, going through the entire team, chasing him down, not only securing a kill, but interrupting everything in between. And we see Kled being locked in as well.
I like it. That's a spicy pick. These are the picks we live here for at the MNLCS. Definitely this is gonna be a really how to phrase this.
Active.
Really, really active top lane. Really, really active. That's the way to put it. We do see LeBlanc in mid lane, answered by the Zed, so I guess it'll be a Corki to carry.
Mm-hmm. So, and as I was saying earlier, it looks like we're going to be seeing a very, very attack damage, very physical team coming out on the left side.
Not too much for frontline as well. We do see the Nautilus and the Tom Kench, which can be, especially Nautilus. I say not too much frontline. Nautilus is one of the beefier tanks now in this meta. We're going to see what rounds off UMNA's team in just a bit here. But you are correct, Donahue. There is essentially all AD coming from Gustavus,
Yes,
except for he does do hybrid damage.
Yes, and so you may see someone get some more AP or focus on that to round out their damage, but you're not going to have anyone fully investing into that AP damage. Whereas on the other side of UMNA, you're going to be seeing that LeBlanc being an entirely big threat, and Nami, if she does build slightly into it, or if she tends to build slightly more utility, we're probably going to see, again, a lot of these more newer support items built in this game just because of the sheer utility that they bring into this.
Right. One of my worries for UMNA might be the fact that they don't really have too much tank going into this game. They don't have much of a front line, right?
They got Kled as long as he's mounted, but you're right. That's definitely something that's going to be worrisome, especially when you have something like Nautilus, who's your biggest front line. And he's going to be, as far as a fully squishy team goes, he's going to be doing enough damage that he's going to be a threat to them. If they don't pay attention to him, he's going to be one of the people in the back line that is going to be messing up their carries, locking down their Kha'Zix, and not letting anything happen to his team.
Definitely. And now that we're waiting for this delay period here, we can kind of talk a little bit more in depth and continue on with our thoughts. Something I wanted to bring up was the fact that UMNA does have Varus, one of the more powerful poke AD carries here. I think as long as Varus is allowed to do some pokes before a team fight happens, UMNA might not need to worry so much about a lack of frontline, right? Fiora can be really squishy. Corki, very squishy for an AD carry. My worry, though, is that Zed will just dive straight into the backline and delete Varus before UMNA has time to react.
And again, yes, Zed Corki is going to be squishy, but you have a Tom Kench and a Nautilus that may either be going deep into the enemy team to interrupt anything that may be happening, or they're going to fall back and peel for him. It's really all about how this Corki positions and really how the team fights do end up playing out for both sides. One thing I want to get into, if we go lane by lane, we're going to be seeing Fiora versus Kled. What are your assumptions on that?
I think, honestly, in my opinion at least, and I'm not the highest ELO player, so I can't share my experience with everybody, but I feel Kled can win into Fiora. He has a lot of survivability as long as Burning Case plays around Skarl well enough. There is a margin for error, though, right?
Yeah, and I'm worried about as far as the bear trap that he has in his kit. If that locks down Fiora, that second tick where it snares her, is that going to trigger her stun off her riposte?
Yes, it's so easy for Fiora to repost. It's one of the kind of things that lean up onto her side into the matchup.
So that's definitely something that we're going to have to see how Burning Case is going to be able to play around. He has the deck stacked against him, but he can make it out. We have your standard assassins in the mid lane, Zed versus LeBlanc. It really depends on how they play and who's reactionary or who's able to catch the other by surprise. It may play out that since LeBlanc has exhaust, that she's going to be able to get an early kill much easier onto this Zed. So really interesting how that sees. But if we go down to the bottom, you see the matchup that I really want to see, and I'm really excited for. Having a Corky and Tom Kench, a team that can really go in, and they're not going to stop. The Gatling gun, phosphorus bomb, and everything else in Corky's kit, as well as Tom Kench, they're going to be able to do a lot of damage if they get in close past Varus's arrow, past Nami's bubbles.
Well,
It's all about how if this immobile team for UMNA is able to kite.
definitely something to bring up now that we've been talking about the Kench more is his ultimate, right? Because UMNA, they can kind of try and play back, play the poke game as much as they want, but Tom Kench can kind of just say, no, forget that. We're going in now, and you're going to have to deal with us.
Can you imagine a Tom Kench popping out with a Nautilus in his mouth?
Exactly. I was thinking
That
more
would
even
be quite frightening. I'd be spooked.
something that can happen as well is pretty much anyone, right? Corky with the package, that's going to completely just throw off the enemy team. Zed to get him in there to get a pick real quick and then continue the team fight. There's a lot of ways where if Gustavus plays this right, they don't have to worry so much about UMNA playing so far back.
You're right. The gap closers, especially if you have Fiora and Zed also being able to flank, that's one thing that this team is going to be able to do just as well as UMNA. Gustavus can really go either full-on frontal assault or getting around with those mobile characters in their party.
Something I want to talk about here is the bottom lane for UMNA, more specifically the Nami support, because while I was worried about the Zed just instantly diving in, trying to get on the Zed, if the Nami bubble comes up just on time, it can stop Zed from doing his full combo and instantly assassinating somebody, right? Now we're in the loading screen where we kind of just gotta go down the summoner's runway, gotta compare skins.
I love the Arctic Ops of ours. If we're actually going to talk skins, one of my favorite.
I thought we'd see the Heartseeker. Now that we're nearing Valentine's Day. We're hitting February. We're in February. We're hitting Valentine's Day.
Ignore women, gain LP. This is the way of League.
Unfortunately, both teams. Oh wait, no. There are 3 skins coming out, so obviously, we already know how the game's gonna go.
Skin supremacy. It's
Skins
100%
wins.
accuracy.
Never has a team ever lost if they've had more skins. Don't quote me on that.
If anyone says they had, it's fake news.
Yeah, it's fake news.
Welcome to the stream, guys. It doesn't look like we're actually going to be seeing any of this early invading just yet. It looks like fairly standard starts on bottom side, so that we're going to be able to see the AD carries and the supports help out on their junglers.
Definitely. Although I do like how Rivenescence is positioned, kind of just in case there was an invade, he could answer that kind of quickly, just jump over or even maybe start and play aggressive. I feel it would have been really bad for Gustavus to try and invade, however, because Nami does have a really good counter invade with the bubble.
You're right. You're entirely right, and that's one reason why I'm excited to see how this game goes. The win cons in the bottom lane are, for Gustavus, we need to see them go all in, and for UMNA, they need to not.
Yeah, they need to just sit back and try and poke this out. Corky can be really annoying with his phosphorus bomb, but as long as UMNA just plays back and sits for a little bit, they can poke this down.
Yeah, and we don't really see much CC on this team. We do have that bubble at level 1, but other than that, a slow and a heal is all Nami's really able to do until level 6, and Varus at level 6 also gets that snare, those binding arrows. That's going to be crucial, but I want to see how Monkfish and Hidden Shadows are able to play up before this happens.
Definitely. At level 6, Hidden Shadows does get to answer some of the poke back as well. I feel Gustavus, in the bottom lane at least, might have the weaker level 6 in all honesty, because you get a lot of initiation coming from 007 Varus and Manslice.
Can we just point out how 007 Varus has a sombrero in his club tag?
It's, I mean, that's the classic. The classic.
Slight
It keeps him disguised, you know. Gotta stay undercover. Oh, we do see the game coming top lane. Not gonna get too much out of that. Not even a flash coming out from Chief Chef Big Dog.
And again, going back to that poke, we already see Tom Kench happily gobbling down Corki just to nullify any of that damage. And in this mid lane, we're actually seeing a lot of trade going the way of
LeBlanc.
LeBlanc.
Damage.
A lot of damage. LeBlanc notorious for how much damage he can do early game. We do see Kha'Zix trying to steal this blue buff. Wonder what's going to play out with that.
He does hop over the wall. We can see on our minimap there. Nautilus real low. That'll be first blood coming down for UMNA. Gonna give that over to Rivenescence. Also gets the blue buff, excuse me.
Denies Nautilus his second buff, and just that ward coming out from Nautilus, now that I'm seeing on the stream in that instant replay, not soon enough.
Definitely not. It's something we were kind of addressing earlier as well. If you know that you're not strong in warding, you need everybody on your team together to be saying, hey, there's a Kha'Zix on the enemy team. We know he can be really cheese and just invade and be a stronger jungler than the early game. We need to be on top of our ward games.
So that's something that, like, that ward, since if he would have had it, he should have placed that much sooner than it did. I don't know if he already had that charge off from the trinket from somewhere else.
Right. In this bottom lane, we're seeing 007 Varus again.
More trading going on.
A little bit of a dance going here. Cha-Ching are getting pretty low, and meanwhile in the top lane, another lane that's being really active. Burning Chaos does lose that trade quite a bit. Just barely gets saved by Scar.
There's a lot of action going on, but nothing's being played. Everyone's sticking to their guns and playing safe enough that they're not blowing their own lead or advantage in any of these fights that they have. So that's really good to see, that they're confident, but they're not cocky. We don't see anyone blowing it just yet.
It's a classic matchup. See right there, that's how we were talking earlier.
Exactly.
The riposte is really easy to just kind of predict. Does take a bit of a turret shot, I think, Big Dog.
That
there.
does level out the trade entirely almost.
Burning Cost
okay?
trying to do something. Does get the flash coming out of Big Dog. That's a great call. I feel, honestly, if Big Dog had tried to disrespect and not flash trade, that would have been a kill going over to Chaos. Okay.
It's all a matter of the cooldowns. It's really a battle of
another
cooldowns at this point.
Jarl does abandon, gets carried. Big Dog will win that 1v1.
And that's, again, what we're talking about. If Burning Chaos is going to be continually active up front and starting these fights, he's going to be at a disadvantage. Fiora is made to counter. She's not made to, at least in early lane phase, she's really strong in going against people trying to get that fight.
Definitely. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, we're seeing Hidden Shadows kind of struggle against the Varus poke, which is kind of what we expected here. If that arrow hits, that would have been pretty bad to see. Hidden Shadows definitely would have been selected back. Meanwhile, mid lane, we're kind of seeing a trade. Zed will ult. Can he get off the combo? Not quite. Now Rivenescence is here to answer. Chasing My Dream will have to back off. That's going to be the flash and the ignite coming out of Chasing My Dream, so Rivenescence might want to come back around later and gank.
Do you know what the cooldown is on Riposte?
Riposte, I believe.
24 seconds. So that's definitely something that he can play around. He just needs to start playing more accurately and more strongly to that.
Definitely.
That is a very big time gap, especially when you're...
Oh, Hidden Shadows gets massively chunked down. Maybe a little bit of more charge time there for 007 Varus. That could have given him some extra pocket gold. Burning K still wanting to go in here. Chunking down Big Dog pretty well. Does get riposte. Now he loses Carl. The ult should be enough, rather. Minion damage, not going to be quite there. Gets away by the skin of his teeth.
So close.
What happened there was Big Dog didn't have the flash up because he had burnt it earlier in a prior trade, or else that definitely would have been the death of Burning.
Even then, I think he would have been able to get it had he played a little bit more aggressively and committed a little bit more. He did have the HP to sustain
Definitely
suffer a
a
couple of
big
pokes.
chunk coming out mid lane. Chichinger might want to follow this up just a bit more. Decides to back off a bit.
And if we would have seen, going back to that Fiora, but she was, again, going back to this confident, not cocky, we're going to be seeing her maintain her lead instead of risking losing it.
Definitely. Oh, Hidden Shadows gets hit with the bubble. Slowed from the Hill of Arrows. Exhausted flashes. Barrett flashes. Oh! White get the auto off. And there's Monkfish eating up Hidden Shadows, saving him from danger, like you had mentioned in Chancellor.
Oh, getting nommed.
Last second. Never mind. I take the back. I'll see you later.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. We do see again coming up in the top lane. This might end up being a kill headed over to Rivenescence. What really helps her at the last second. Oh, meanwhile, wait a minute. We do have a little bit of a dance again going here in the mid lane. It doesn't quite get Chichinger off. Also, Chichinger is able to hold on to the exhaust there as well and just burns the flash. This could signal for Tempaxi, on the other hand, to try and gank that. You know, he is 6 now. He has the depth charge. Package for Corki.
He's going to be missing out on another blue buff as we see Kha'Zix invade there.
Yes, and this is something we were talking about with these powerful junglers, right? And look, we see there's no words on that side of the map at all for Gustavus.
I mean, there's 2, but they're not on their team. Those are offensive wards placed by UMNA.
Exactly. And so right there, like ships in ninth, he's just gonna real quick pick the wolf, pass out.
He knows there's a ward there, but that sets him up to be picked out by this LeBlanc if they decide to group.
Oh, meanwhile, it's getting a bit spicy. Monkfish does chew up Manslice. This may end up being Manslice getting chopped down. Hidden Shadows does Valkyrie forward, puts himself at a risky position here. Double of Air should be getting this kill. Monkfish now will answer. Double kill, I believe, for Monkfish, unless Hidden Shadows was able to claim Manslice there. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Big Dog, what are you doing? He gets chunked out. I think he was trying to save his jungler there. Rivenescence, though, maybe he hasn't had enough. They're going to send him... Oh! Rivenescence is kind of taking a bit too much there. However, it works out. Burning Case gets the kill. Really good stuff coming here from UMNA.
Again, like I said, they have the wards in the jungle. They know where all of the enemy is. UMNA plays offensive, tries to pick out Nautilus, and they do. With Rivenescence and Burning Case, they are able to get a double kill, especially when Chef Big Dog came in. And that was even split down at the bottom. We saw one going over to Monkfish on Tom Kench and one going over to Hidden Shadows. He did get that kill on Nami, but sacrificing himself to the virus is a little bit of a trade-off.
Again, trying to go on Chichinger might not be enough here. Oh, gets popped! The Ignite doing just enough to pop for there.
The ultimate, again, also being so crucial in this Zed winning these trades. So going back to the bottom lane, Varus has already been winning trades and he's been able to get a lot of poke. If we start seeing them getting, if they keep even in this bottom lane, if they get more damage on this Varus, Corki's going to even have a harder time to maintain this lane. We really want to see someone start taking towers and start going for other objectives so that they can get out of lane phase and get into the team fights.
Hidden Shadow's a bit out of position here. Although he's
Varus
able to answer. 007 getting jumped way too low. Now, Hidden Shadows does answer that. A big help there was... Oh, wait. Meanwhile, Monkfish tries to get Manslice. Maybe asks for a bit too much, though. Hidden Shadows gets deleted by Rivenescence. Monkfish trying to get some revenge onto his support. Will be down, and that'll be the wave. This is possibly a triple kill for Rivenescence.
No, again, confident, not cocky. Rivenescence not going to go in. Zed's there. We are going to see another
Meanwhile,
fight.
top lane, it's getting spicy. She missed the riposte. She puts on the ult. Not going to be enough here. She's not popping these quite fast enough. Oh! The bear trap misses, and Skarl says, goodbye, I'm out of here. Oh, Big Dog barely getting out again of the skin of his teeth. It's getting real spicy up in here a little bit.
Big Dog is not the big dog in the top lane right now. Skarl is actually playing much...
Chichinger gets deleted. Just so much damage coming from chasing my dreams of Zed.
May I go on? Do you guys want to keep team fighting? It's up to you. So now we're seeing Cloud of Skarl and Burning Kai's start to be really dominant in this top lane. He learned to go for that riposte. It has a over 20-second cooldown, and he's capitalizing on it. He's able to get in when he needs to. He's closing out, and he's being as mobile as he needs to keep Fiora in his sights. He's doing a lot of damage and winning these trades. It's just, he's showing dominance. And as far as the rest of the map, that's getting taken care of by Kha'Zix.
Definitely. Something that we kind of touched up a bit on before was these control words for both teams, just kind of trying to use them more. We're seeing they've been popping up a lot more in this game.
Yeah, and now we see 2 in the bottom lane, and we do see Zed getting revealed by yet another one. Nami dropping that, and we do see a lot of people grouping in this bottom side jungle. Only top players are out of it.
Bears does have his ultimate. Impact getting... Oh, chasing my dreams, tries to go for an ambitious plays. Goes on to Chichinger. Gets destroyed by Riven Essence. Meanwhile, Bears picks up the kill onto Timpaxi. And in the top lane, also going to see Burning Chaos try to win this right here. Try to hope Skull gets in there. Gets saved. Oh! Oh! Does get the kill on Big Val. Thank you, Skull, for coming in when Kled needs you.
Going back to the fight mid lane, I guess you could say Kha'Zix is a dangerous game.
Oh my goodness.
That being said, so they had a really good position, but the problem is Timpaxi is so far behind. He's 7 to Kha'Zix's 10. That's levels, that's stats that you just don't have. And not to mention skill levels and everything else. He's automatically at disadvantage every time we go to see him fight this Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix should not be able to, again, third blue buff getting stolen by Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix should not be able to tear through Nautilus so quickly, but Nautilus doesn't even have much past his Cinderhulk. Doesn't have boots, he still only has that Ruby Crystal second item trying to be built, but he's just getting denied everything. He's 0-3-0, hasn't been really in any kills or any successful ganks. He's really fighting an uphill battle. Now, mind you, coming from a guy that lived at the bottom of the sea for a while, he can do it, but we just need to start seeing some work get done on this Nautilus to get him back into this game. We need that front line to keep the rest of this team alive coming into these late game fights. Right,
definitely something that I think is helping pick up the slack in this case is Chasing My Dreams Zed. He's doing a lot more damage than Chichinger, I feel, expected. He even has a CS lead here. We hear the Kled. Something's going up in the top lane, and Chasing My Dreams is in the bottom lane. Kills 007 Varus. Meanwhile, Chef Big Dog goes down to Riven Essence.
Again, you're right. This Zed is going to be a huge factor, but he only has 2 kills, no assists. He's not impacting really any other lane than his own. And even that, he gave up a kill to Kha'Zix, who's now 7-0 and 2. You don't want Kha'Zix to get much bigger than that. Yeah, he's already going to be transitioning into a huge threat into this late game. Him going down, and we're actually going to be seeing the second tower. Okay, second tower getting picked up. That's going to be good.
Chichinger trying to get Tim Banzinski. Will go down. Now Zed forced run. I chasing my dreams, excuse me.
Teleport
again, Chef Big Dog. He's in there, almost guaranteed to his death. That is a questionable play coming in from Chef Big Dog. Trying to just do anything to defend his tower here. Oh, meanwhile, chasing my dream. Does try to get some damage here. Shadows on. Not quite enough to kill Manslice too. Again, lives barely. Chichinger, though, getting kind of chewed up by this Monkfish is Tom Kench.
Again, that's what we talked about, where Tom Kench doesn't have much damage, but it's going to be enough that he's a threat to all of these squishier targets. Nami's included. She's just another fish in the barrel.
Yeah.
I really need to stop making these puns.
Something to point out here, you know, we take a breath, right? We breathe in. We get a look at the map. We get a look at our turret situation. UMNA doesn't have their mid lane turret, doesn't have their bottom lane. However, mid lane for Gustavus also doesn't have their first
top
tower.
Down for them. It's a mere transition across the map.
Yeah. Tim Bagzinski will be seen out by that ward.
So, what do you think of these items builds? Corki getting that early Trinity Force, he's going to be that hybrid threat that we talked about. Do we see 2 Hex Drinkers? Early Hex Drinker on Corki?
That Hex Drinker is definitely, I don't know if I'd say 100% necessary, but it's to respect the LeBlanc, it's to respect the Nami damage.
And there is some magic damage coming out from Varus from his bleed, but that's negligible at this point.
Trying to get on to Chasing My Dreams, flashes forward, trying to get just... Oh, the heal to get Revenessence up there should still get popped. Never mind, lives by the skin of his teeth again. Everybody just getting so close to kicking the bucket.
Revenessence is starting to play going into that cocky side. He's really taking his Kha'Zix to the limit without giving up that big ass bounty on his head.
Right, Manslay's really good call to use the redemption so early. Double 7 in a little bit of trouble here. Does manage to get out. Chichinger trying to put some extra pressure on Tim Pakzinski.
And we do see now Fled going in.
Like a freaking scene from Jaws, just waiting for him to get a little too out there.
Dun. Dun, dun.
No, Chef Big Dog says, I want none of that. Gets out of there. Kind of just, again, respecting the fact that he is 1-5. He needs to understand maybe he won't win every single duel now.
And this is so hard to see when junglers get so starved. You actually do feel for them when you get to play
a little bit here. Burning Case dodges to the post. Another bear trap. Big Dog doesn't get to go over the wall. Still might get out. This will be the ultimate coming out. Revenessence decides he wants to get a taste of it. Big Dog barely gets out.
That flash was definitely needed, especially when we saw Revenessence come out of the field. Again, we're seeing these wards. How long has that control ward been on their blue? That was there the last time he took it. That's 4 blues now going over to the Kha'Zix.
Definitely. And it's something that's been awkward for the Zed to not be able to get cooldowns. Tim Pakzinski playing Nautilus, who definitely needs the blue buffs. Revenessence has those double buffs.
He was entirely denied. We do
Death
see
Charge going on Revenessence. They're calling it now. They want him. Hops over, says no, thank you. I'll see you later.
We do see Zed in the back line. Is he going to be committing for it?
Definitely not.
Hey, getting an 802 bounty for your team, moral boost to finally take him out, finally get that 0 off the board, and
the thing is,
that would have been good for the team.
Yeah.
Well worth it sacrifice.
Definitely.
Especially if you touch it in chat first.
Mansla is just kind of saying, hey, you're in our side of the map, get out of here. Chichinger does land the line. Revenessence will claim that kill.
Odd flash coming down from there. I think you should have just been better giving it up.
Definitely. I don't think Monkfish thought, oh, okay, Manslice bubbled me, whatever, I'll just get out of here. Before he knew it, the whole team just came down. Revenessence trying to hunt down hidden shadows here. This should be another kill. Flashes over. Tim Pakzinski would have warded him off either way, I feel.
Another ward coming out by UNMN that's proving extremely valuable to them. This vision control on their side, on Gustavus' side of the map, is really, really giving them so many advantages that we can't even count anymore. Right. I mean, I can count the blue buffs, I can count the amount of times that Kha'Zix has gone into that topside jungle and came out with a kill.
And more wards. Now we see, you know, UMA.
Now we're finally seeing those Oracle lenses being really helpful and really starting making an impact, but we just need to see that consistently.
Right. And to Gustavus's defense, they had the bottom side of the map kind of worded a bit better than it had been previously.
Yeah, they've definitely been warding better, and they've been controlling the bottom side, but when Kha'Zix is roaming, the entire map is his. Especially if he's getting smart with that ultimate and cloaking through in the right areas that he needs to. He's really been able to close the gap and pick up a lot of kills for this team. He has over half the kills on his team, 9 out of 14 directly on him with 2 assists. And now they're looking for an early Baron. Or no.
Maybe just a Baron bait, you know, trying to get Gustavus over here. That's what it almost looks like. We do see the wards come in. Kind of got to point that out.
Gotta give it to them. Those wards probably saved lives. Ward lives matter, guys.
Ward lives matter. Oh boy. Hidden Shadows, getting clear out that wave. That's something I don't know if we talked about too much. Corky does have quite a bit of wave clear going for him. Chasing My Dream, trying to get Chichinger. Meanwhile, Burning Case tries to get there at the last second, save his life. Doesn't
Denied. Kled making the great call to go help out his teammate and actually save Chichinger. Chichinger can't really hold a candle to the Zed, especially in a one-on-one combat. Having to blow that Zhonya's just to merely survive the ultimate.
Right, and that's something about Kled's charge, right? You hear it, but you never know. Maybe this one isn't coming from me. Maybe this time. And then before you know it, Charge is going out there, or Kled rather, is going out there saying, no thank you, I will keep my mid laner safe. Monkfish out of position. This should be another kill for Rivenescence here.
Especially when you got Varus coming down on 007.
Yep,
And
Hail of Arrow.
Gonna
Gonna slow, and 007 shows off those 80 carry last hitting mechanics. Just gonna secure the kill there. Never know. Burning Case. Oh, this is gonna be a slaughter for Tim Pagzinski. Excuse me.
That's
really good collapse coming from UMNA.
First inner turret of the game.
They might be looking for an inhibitor here. They can definitely get that. Oh, the ultimate from Varus, getting Corky caught out of position.
That's
again,
an inhibitor.
That's the power of Chain of Corruption, and he hadn't thrown it out too much this game.
Gotta save it for those clutch picks that secure you objectives like that just did. What is the next dragon going to be spawning? We're going to be having a stone dragon, mountain dragon, spawning next.
Really useful here to try and just. And there's something that helps out UMNA is the fact that this bottom lane is in their control essentially. It'll be hard, I feel, for Gustavus to get a dragon on their side of the board unless they create pressure on the other side of the map.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but even then, say you have Nautilus hang back, maybe throw Tom Kencha and Fiora top lane, they're going to get picked out by just Rivenescence alone. Maybe one more to secure that. And that leaves your 3v3 even numbers at the dragon. That's going to be a fight that UNMN, my apologies, is going to be looking for. They want even numbers. Unless you're going to start getting these picks, which UMNN, I'm sorry.
I believe it's UMNA, my friend.
Tongue twisters. Unless you start getting those picks like they've been doing so well this game, you're not going to be able to start winning fights yet.
Right. Something that's not in Gustavus' favor either is this gold deficit compared to UMNA, and this is gonna be the Baron call. They burn this down so quickly.
Titanic Hydra, Black Cleaver, you got Yomos, you got a lot of shredding on this team.
That's the charge, you're looking for more here. Chef Big Dog in a lot of danger. Chasing My Dream, trying to get to do something. Rivenescence pops. Meanwhile, Chasing My Dream does get Kazik. Manslice in a lot of trouble from Hidden Shadows. The Valkyrie's coming in. Package boosted. 007 trying to get some answers. Chichinger, meanwhile, dropping way too low. However, in the end, it is an ace coming in for UMNA. And only losing one member despite all the chaos. And now Burning Case, they might end.
That's game. You're going to be seeing the teleport in, and that's going to be just so much damage going out on these turrets. You have the Baron buff on these super minions.
Maybe they respected just a bit. There's 7 seconds here. I don't think they can be warded off. This might be the game coming in for UMNA.
The only mark against them is that they don't have the Kazakhs, but they don't have the numbers yet on the side of Gustavus to hold it off.
That'll be game. GG, well played. Victors, UMNA. And quite a stomp. 7-23 UMNA's victory there.
The only part where they didn't show dominance, where they didn't really have control, would be in that mid lane where we saw Chasing My Dream constantly fending off Chichinger, dropping him so low, but he was only able to get 1 kill in that lane. Definitely a mark where that was their strong suit in this game. But all other players on UNMN They really played well. They didn't die. They didn't overextend. And when Riven Essence did finally go down, that was a game-winning play. The fact that they were able to secure so much with only sacrificing one loss, one death, that really just kind of sealed the deal right there for them.
Right, and looking into these I was looking into these post-game builds a bit. Riven Essence had so much lethality going on to him to just chunk into any tank items that might have been bought from Monkfish or Tempagzinski. Like you said, though, Lupus, there was almost a kind of slow part coming from UMNA where they kind of they took a little bit of time to go fully online. Top lane, the
started learning to time out the repository, started learning to counter it and figure out the mechanics that were working against him. He started working past those, getting around those, positioning himself a little bit better, saving that dash for the repository while he had that bear trap out, waiting for Riven Essence to be around, and being able to capitalize on knowing that Fiora is going to going at certain angles that she's going to be trying to get those procs on her passive, on her ultimate, and she's going to be looking for those gains. And to work against those, work against the mechanics of the champion, it's really hard to play against that when you're thinking so far ahead of the other player.
Right. Well, all in all, that's going to wrap up our first game of the evening. Here next up will be UMD Nova versus St. Olaf. It'll be an interesting game to follow up how hectic and how action-packed game one, or match one rather, from Gustavus and UMNA seemed.
Definitely a good call by you that there was going to be a lot of action happening in this game. Yes, there was that slow part, but that confidence, not cockiness, is definitely where it aired in, that they wanted to be secure in every play that they did. So right now we're going to cut it to a break.
So hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, or we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of the world that we defy. The soul ray of the few who rise up high. And we all fight at the last light.
Hello and welcome back.
All right, we're going to be getting ready with game 2, UMD Nova versus St. Olaf, if I said
Yep.
that correctly. Okay, there's so many name changes recently. All right,
So right now, just trying to get everybody here.
I'm waiting on a few more people to get into Champ Select, and then we'll be able to get way on second. Now, let's go back to that first game that we just watched. We saw a lot of offensive warding, a lot of invading, and definitely a lot of lane pressure and dominance by the jungler on the side of UMNA. Do you think we're going to be seeing again more of these offensive junglers?
Right. I think definitely. Because the thing is, right, you're either going to want to go for a jungler who's either very tank and utility or just straight up a carry jungler. You have Kha'Zix, Rengar, the whole works, right? And even now, we're kind of finding more of these junglers that end up being a lot more cheesy, that want to just kill you, right? You have Vi, who ends up being really useful and can deal tons of damage.
Mm-hmm. And we did see a lot of bans come out from UMNA that took away those kind of junglers when they went for themselves. They banned out the Camille, they banned out the Vi, and they took those other jungler options away and forced the hand of Gustavus to really go for that tanky utility Nautilus, who ended up getting that UNMA ended up playing strongly to counteract, to go against, to try and outplay.
Right, and I think if we're to gear forward, start focusing on maybe what we see in this game, I feel we probably will see Camille get banned again, and if she isn't, she'll be instantly picked up right off the get-go.
Of course. It's one of those. She's one of those picks that's so strong that I don't care what role you play, you have her in your wheelhouse to trade, to secure, to lock, to get into the hands of your team.
Right.
That's just something you see.
Additionally, I feel it comes down to seeing what we see in bans, because there are some strange, little pocket picks that we have here in the MNLCS, but there's always going to be those 100%, right? Your Camille's, Kha'Zix, maybe Rengar. Rengar actually wasn't banned or picked last game, if I'm correct.
Mm. He wasn't. You're right on that. And so that's one thing. Like, are we going to see that mini quest?
The Kha'Zix versus Rengar.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that we could definitely see. That's something that if someone was confident in their Kha'Zix or their Rengar to counter pick against, it's just that much stronger of a hero if you're able to beat them at that level to finish that quest, to get that last piece. Kha'Zix with that 4th evolution is almost unnecessarily strong, especially if you're already dominating the lane.
Right, and we got to talk to especially we got to talk about how just the teams in general are feeling. We got to talk to one of the guys from UMD, and they were saying how they're feeling confident coming into the game. They've been screaming a lot. They've been doing their practice, right? So maybe not too cocky, but maybe their confidence is a lot more boosted up. They're feeling like they can take this game, put one on the belt. Mm-hmm. But you never know. I feel. What do you think we might see in the top lane? Maybe we've seen the Kled, we've seen
the Fiora, the counter.
Right.
Actually, Fiora was the first pick. It was Kled that picked into Fiora.
Yeah, that's true.
Again, it's something that yes, he picked into something that we were calling as a hard fight for him to win. Give it a first kill or second kill in lane, he did win it.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was just going to say really quickly, the weird things, we've been hearing this tank meta resurgence come up again, but neither of these were really like big tank absorbers, right? They weren't your Maokais or your Malphite's or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. So in the top lane, there's just so much that we can see. Again, we saw fighters. If you want to be classic and bring out a Nasus, but that's heavily countered. There's a lot of things that are still strong in the top lane. It's really player preference.
Yeah, but of course, you can see why the tanks would be really popular now. I was surprised that we didn't see tanks.
Little nonsense going on in both the chat and the support is pooping. Okay.
Cool. What are you thinking to see maybe in the mid lane here? We've talked about the jungle. We've talked about top. Moving down to mid, we saw LeBlanc Zed. I don't know if we'll see Zed again, but I feel maybe we see LeBlanc.
I would call Zed much more so. Zed is. I feel like he does LeBlanc's job better, but you don't see Zed as often because, again, you're going to be seeing a lot of people pick for that AP mid-carry just to round out their damage profile. Again, going back to what we talked about last game, where they were mainly AD heavy. So if we see Zed, we might see Ziggs go transition into the bottom lane to fill out that role and take out that tower and really control those objectives. If we're seeing LeBlanc, we're definitely going to see another one of those heavier AD carries. Are we going to see something unconventional, like throwing Malphite in mid? I don't know. There's again, we've only just really gotten into this series of games that we really don't know the wheelhouse of everyone perfectly. There's a lot of surprises that I want to see personally. Then again, you know me and the kind of stupid stuff I like to do when I play League, and it works. Jungle Poppy, guys, get on it.
Jungle Leona.
Going.
Jungle Leona also, I didn't mention it, but you did. Thank you, sir. That's what I like to do. Seeing a Lux Band away, that does take away, as opposed to the Assassin, the long range carry. The one that's going to be able to gank a lane from Dragon or from Baron Pit with that laser. But taking away that option, they're going to be looking probably to go for a more all-in team so that they don't have those heroes getting...
Reek of fear.
Speaking of trying to pick an all-in team, Sion would have been great.
Right. And Stein kind of fills both things where he has an engage ultimate, very tanky, shields.
Seeing Nautilus banned out is now returning that favor. Another engage, AoE, CC. We're seeing so much being taken off the board. These are very, very impactful characters or heroes in the hands of the right player. So it looks like we are seeing a lot of research being put into these bans and into the thought process of who to ban. Kha'Zix, obviously we know why. Just look at the last game. We saw Kha'Zix completely dominate.
This kind of brings up the question, what will UMD Nova kind of round off their bans with? Rengar to answer. I expected as such. That's
We'll
fair.
play the minigame in the ban area.
You take one, you got to take the other.
Package deals, you know? Alright, so the final ban coming out by Right Nut of Faker. I said that on stream.
Yes. Just saying that in life, I feel. It's just life goals. Let's see. Last second here.
I'm going.
Ziggs. So we're not going to be seeing Ziggs either in the middle or at that bottom lane is fulfilling that ADC role. So it looks like someone's going to have to play ADC, and it's going to be...
first pick, Caitlyn.
It's a safe pick. She can zone. She can last on her own if the support needs to roam.
That's true. That's fair enough. I feel that she obviously will scale better than, let's say, if St. Olaf had picked a Varus, or something along those lines. Caitlyn will scale much better than a Varus will.
And so that's one thing that we're going to be seeing and how it plays out. Yes, she's going to scale well. It's also going to be another factor that, like I said, she can survive on her own for the most part. It's going back to last game. We saw the poke heavy team win. We saw them able to keep Corki and Tom Kench in their place. And then when the time came, they were able to play well, position perfully.
Something that might be difficult to play against, though, is the Amumu AoE ult, the Zyra AoE ult. We see St. Olaf pick up both Zyra and Amumu. In answer to that, Nova picks the MF, probably support MF, as well as the Syndra mid. Really powerful. You get a slight nerf, but still very strong.
Syndra's always been really strong. She's, especially when she's able to knock back a lot of the team. Even if it's not a stun, that little bit of distance can mean life or death for her allies when she needs it. Going with I don't know. It really just determines what they're going to be playing.
Right. Vel'Koz's gonna be the answer there. Possibly, no, definitely a mid. I don't think we'd see mid Zyra. Definitely gonna be a Vel'Koz mid.
I mean, it could be top Zyra with Vel'Koz support. We'll never know.
You joke about that? I had that in one of my solo queue games. It went terribly.
Varus getting picked up, so they respond to the poke lane with the poke lane.
Right. I really like Varus in the Caitlyn as well.
Really?
Yes. His Q much more ranged than her auto attacks. All Swagnarok needs to do in this lane is constantly just pummel her with those. Zyra and Varus also have a really complementary combo, right? You snare, double snare, and then before you know it, Snowkin's gonna be gone. One of the worries though is that both Zyra and Varus are really immobile.
Really immobile, and their life depends on landing the CCs, which both of theirs is skill shots.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, Caitlyn may be able to get lucky and net away, and if we are seeing the misfortune, she can run on her high heels slightly.
Right. Also, speaking about... sorry, finish your thought.
Their entire team's immobile. Vel'Koz, Varus, Zyra. See, now that's a problem when we see the Rek'Sai and Maokai get picked up. Those two tanks can get into the line and do some damage. But last game we saw that not be able to come to fruition. Now, when Maokai has a point-and-click snare, that's going to be, or point-and-click route that tackles you, that's probably going to be a lot more impactful, especially among this immobile team that we're seeing.
True. Rek'Sai
yes, they have the Amumu ult. Yes, they have the Zyra ult. But if that only matters if they can keep Vel'Koz and Varus alive.
Right. We do see Yasuo getting picked. I feel, it works out. You know, you have your knockups from Vel'Koz. You have a knockup from Zyra with the ultimate. It can synchronize pretty well.
You do have a lot of AoE. You do have a lot of suppression, especially with the Yasuo. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that pick. You really only have the Vel'Koz to complement it, aside from the Zyra ult, if you do get plenty of people knocked up near each other. It's conditional. People know it's coming, and it's something that they can avoid, unlike a Malphite. But again, it's really how this team feels like playing. At the same time, we're seeing St. Olaf play long range and poke, but slightly all in with the Yasuo and Amumu.
Right. And that's kind of what you need, you know. If you're going to go with poke comp, you need hard to engage, or else you're not going to be able to kind of answer out in some of these team fights.
That's something that, like, once you get them whittled down, you have the Amumu commit, you have the Yasuo go in, or if anything, you even have the Yasuo get peeled. You keep him in the back line and just save him with the poke.
Right.
If they need to retreat, you have a lot of covering fire options coming out from the side, especially when Vel'Koz is able to land that knockup. Varus is able to keep that slowdown and keep those arrows. You have a lot of covering fire for retreat options. But the problem is that you just don't have the mobile team to really do that well, you know?
Definitely. Something
you don't have people to kite with.
Something that we can address, you know, now that we have the delay timer coming in and the teams are already in getting ready to just duke it out, is the fact that Jim and Raynor decided to go for Ignite and opted out of Exhaust, which to me, it's going to, kill lane. Those have tended to be pretty unpopular, especially if you have a Varus, but they do have a really strong level 6. They need to be careful of Cripple's bullet time, however.
And as they just said in Twitch chat, barrier versus Ignite in mid. So you have the kill lane in bottom, but the safety pick on Vel'Koz, again, going back to just him being so immobile, he wants to be able to live when we see a Rek'Sai come into the gank. With Rek'Sai, she's really good as getting in. She's really good on doing a lot of damage in a very small area, and she's really good on capitalizing on people being out of position. If we see a lot of tunnels coming around from Rek'Sai, we're going to be able to see her screech around, top bot, wherever she needs to be to pressure the lanes.
Definitely. Something to address with the barrier as well. It addresses how Wolfie is going to want to play this, right? He's not going to want to get the knockup going, start concrete. He's going to probably play it a bit more reserved, and the barrier is almost completely necessary against the Syndra.
Mm-hmm. I can completely agree with you. She's definitely got... It's really hard to say who has better range. As far as... Vel'Koz does have that rupture, his Q and bank shot. But as far as going straight head-to-head, Syndra can kind of match him. Launching those balls, knocking them away, and playing with the minions. She definitely has a way of reaching him when he's trying to play back and play safe. What do you think about this top lane, though? We haven't mentioned that yet. The Maokai versus Yasuo. Tree versus Katana. What do you got?
I think, honestly, Olo has kind of the better pick because you can just build Randuins into Yasuo's crit, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's going to fairly shut him down, especially when you take away that immobility when you pop the range when it's active.
I feel that, yeah, essentially, it might be rough for right now to Faker. However, it's still going to give that the air of possibility. You know, maybe we see him kind of dance around, get the knockup, get the ult. However, the Maokai does have the damage reduced ult as well. There's a lot of things going for Olo here that kind of help him.
It's a matter of, yes, you can reduce the damage, but are you reducing it enough to the point where it matters? Is he doing too much for it to even account for that? And while you're reducing that damage, are you returning it? Are you being able to get those passive off? Now, with Yasuo dashing all the time, this is an interesting point. We're going to see Maokai sustaining a lot off his passive, being able to drain that HP from minions, from champions, wherever he is. If Yasuo is dashing around, Maokai's staying healed up. As hard as it is, like, that's fairly straightforward, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. There is a lot. Again, there is a lot of tools kind of just helping Maokai survive a bit. Maybe not get the kill, or maybe he will, but there's a lot of things helping him out just survive.
I think one-on-one, it's hard to say who will win, but if we have the junglers up there at the same time, I'm going to side with Maokai and Rek'Sai. I'm going to side with them because Rek'Sai brings in the damage that Maokai doesn't have. Maokai still is going to be a hard person to take down. Rek'Sai does have that true damage. She does have some slight sustain, especially if she's in the thick of the minions. I don't think Amumu is going to be able to make up for the damage that Rek'Sai would bring to the table in a 2v2 fight.
Something you notice out, Swaggart has Heart Seeker Varus. That's where I was looking for the whole time. Valentine's coming around.
He's ignoring the first rule. Ignore women, gain LP. Also, this Maokai skin, I haven't seen it often enough, and I'm very entertained.
It's a hidden diamond in the buff. In the rough, rather.
Both are accurate. And so now we're seeing a lot of pings coming out from UMD Nova. Looks like they're playing fairly aggressively. Enough that Vel'Koz is going to be a little quick in his boots and sending out some pings.
Right.
But no one's going for that all-in level 1 invade.
They're being careful though. We see Saint Olaf, and instead of just camping out near the blue buff, they're setting up a line of scrimmage, right? Where it's, we know we might get invaded potentially. We're gonna stop it here.
Mm-hmm.
Although it does mean Jim doesn't really get to set up too much when it comes to plans.
Mm-hmm.
Minions have spawned.
Now, we kind of just see your classic start. Both everybody's kind of laid back a bit.
Oh my god, there is a duck in the river. Sorry. I was reading the chat from the game. So line of scrimmage, everyone's doing your standard starts. You're mainly going to have your... Well, you're going to have Rek'Sai starting at blue, which is a little bit odd for me. I think the red would have been better for her, especially if she wanted to play aggressive and try and capitalize on Amumu having a slow initial clear.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But going for the red steal, that might be the pick still. Just taking a more direct route instead of starting his own red. Early Qs coming out, that's a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage.
Misfortune will constantly be a nuisance in this lane too with the make it rain.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that they're going to have to worry about every 13 seconds or so.
Yep. Swaggart doing a really good job of just landing these Qs onto Snowkin.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of returning the poke damage. Another nuisance of a make it rain.
Q's going back and forth from this team. It's really going to be just a shooting gallery between them. You gotta sometimes miss a minion to try and dodge that damage.
I feel Snowkin has kind of a weaker...
Yes!
A weaker 6, right? Well, something I'm looking into is like the level 6s of the bottom lanes.
As far as teamfight potential goes, yes. But if they're able to get pre-6 advantage, they already do have a couple minion kills ahead just by being aggressive and pushing the lane. If they can get the 6 first, being able to close out a fight beforehand, like if they did that just now onto Zyra, that's going to be impactful. That's going to be really making it hurt, because again, we're not seeing tank supports, we're seeing offensive AP damage supports. So the problem is, level 6 Caitlyn is going to be doing a
quite a bit of damage. Yeah,
with an early
side kind of roaming here too. That was almost a dive planned out, and there was a bit of a dance mid lane. Both mid laners just barely above 50% HP there.
Like I said, this Maokai is really not going to have a problem sustaining.
Definitely, yeah. We see him. He got hit up a
Watching the
bit.
mana cost is the biggest thing that this Maokai is going to have to do, and making it rain with Thunderlord's Calling is still really impactful.
Definitely. And Cripple's just constantly going to be doing this poke damage, which answers Swagnarok Piercing Arrow really well. Snowkin put down to below 50 though.
Yeah, he took to some... Oh!
Cripple does get caught out by the snare. Something to point out, Swagnarok has already used his potion. Or biscuit rather.
And he doesn't have the mana to maintain these Qs. In a straight auto attack.
Meanwhile, top lane. Oh, we do see Zachary coming for the gank here. That's gonna lock Olo up and give first blood, over to Amumu. Snowkin, meanwhile, being brought real low. Has to flash, still gets hunted down by those pesky plants coming out from Jim Raynor.
That's one thing we haven't been mentioning. While, yes, Make It Rain is going to be a terribly, terribly big thorn in their side, Jim Raynors is being very, very keen, very, very accurate with these seeds. These seeds are playing such a big part, as we just saw there, securing, returning, and firing off damage.
Definitely. Was really close coming in from St. Olaf's bot lane, though. They almost kicked the bucket.
That they did, but they didn't. Again, confidence is something that we're really seeing play well. They know their characters, and they're playing it very, very well. That they're being able to just negotiate almost with how much damage they're taking and doing. And we're seeing Zyra do very, very well, planting those seeds, maintaining those seeds, and triggering them exactly when she needs to. One thing that I think we're going to need to see Nova do better is breaking those seeds whenever possible, or not fighting around them at all.
Definitely. Something that helps out as well when it came up to the top lane, returning to that kill, is kind of, or not something that helped, but something that kind of was rough, is that it didn't get passed over to the Yasuo, right?
Mm-hmm. No, that's always a shame, especially when you're playing a damage-dealing carry top laner like Yasuo. That would have been great for him to have. But he still has that early zeal, as opposed to Maokai's Corrupting Potion and a Ruby Crystal Cloth Armor. It's still a better set for him. He does already have that ulti ready, and he's going to keep trying to harass, but again, Maokai's going to be doing very, very well sustaining this lane.
Right, and it's what we had addressed earlier, you know, he can dance around all he wants, but Olo's just going to be able to sustain up.
With the control wards going in the river, we have one at Dragon, one in the river by mid. They may be trying to force an early Dragon here. That Infernal Drake is up, and they do want it, especially if they can keep that power advantage. Bottom lane doing very well for Nova by not taking much damage. And we're trying to see what Varus...
Nerf Akali came down. Might have tried to get a gank going there.
He's still looking for it. There are wards in the jungle, and we do have a Mumu coming down. He's going for the scuttle, and they're trying.
Maybe they counter-initiate here.
No. It doesn't look like anyone wants to fight under.
Oh, meanwhile, right now the Faker gets ganked from Zyzex. They are having Olo tank it. Not going to be quite enough. He gets out.
That would have been a very, very bad thing had they kept going. Getting that knock up from Yasuo under tower with that level 6 ultimate and Ignite almost up, that would have been an easy kill, if not two, for Right Nut.
Okay, so definitely. He does get his flash pulled out, though. Then again, so does Olo. He used his flash in that little skirmish there as well.
Very good job by Caitlyn getting that ward on.
Trying to get something a little aggressive here, even though he is quite low. Pops the ignite, gets a knockup, puts down the ultimate. Might just be enough here to get Olo. That'll be a kill going off to right out of Faker. Again, Olo, as you mentioned before, didn't really have mana to use anything there.
And that's something like maybe that potion was a good idea, but it's just not turning around. He's not really maintaining that pool that he needs to. The thing is, as far as he's dueling Yasuo, he's going to be getting that sap magic passive, where he every 4 or 5 spells he gets that health back, so he can fight and he can keep going. But he doesn't have the mana to actually maintain his own damage.
Right, and now look at Dragon, Lucas.
Dragon is actually going... Wow, I didn't actually even see that.
Yeah, that's what I was about to mention up earlier as well, you know. We talked about how maybe St. Olaf wants it, but...
St. Olaf didn't have the damage coming out from Amumu, and most of their damage is really on that Yasuo right now, with the couple of kills and assists he has. And good job by Nova by pushing them back and making sure that was an easy cap. Ultimate coming out.
Ultimate coming out. That puts Snowking in a rough position. They're getting cowed out. Does use the exhaust onto Swagnerot. Snowking still way too low and out of position here. This should be a kill coming in for Swagnerot. Meanwhile, Zysek says, no thank you. Get out of my face, Swagnerot.
Well played by Rek'Sai. Beautiful play for the flash upheaval and knocking him up and taking that away, securing not only a kill but the life of his ally.
Definitely.
Snowcane really needs to start being careful and start respecting those Varus. He definitely has the damage to back him up. Yes, in AoE auto attack trades, we're going to be seeing Snowcane come out on top, but as soon as Varus has Jim near him or any amount of mana, duel's going to go his way.
Definitely. Something to bring up again is these wards. Right now the Faker does get chunked down a bit. Kinda wants to take this fight still, doing quite a bit of damage here. Again, looking at the mana, might have bit off a bit more than he can chew as he gets down by Olo. Again.
Man, still in the bag for this Maokai, especially when he goes. He does have those wards, he does have that protection. He knew Yasuo was alone. He maintained a pool, was able to pop his ultimate, was able to secure the kill, all while staying way above 50% health. That's what I'm talking about. This is what Maokai needs to do to secure this lane and secure the game for his team. He needs to be impactful. Now we see
Zachary coming in here. Might want to flash. Maybe not. Maybe he just uses the gauze. Nah, does get the flash from Snowking though. Wolfie Meister a bit out of position here. Gets the knockup. Ult Nerf Akali. However, she enters with an ultimate of her own and gets the kill onto Wolfie Meister.
The Doug and the wards are coming out so clutch right there for Nerf Akali. Being able to see him with that very, very small vision around that ward and being able to just know where he is from that large ultimate was so important for Nerf Akali. Wolfie Meister trying so hard to get the kill, but did not react fast enough to the flash. He should have been able to secure it, and I almost thought it was going to be his. Zeiss was not responding fast
coming out from Cripple a bit too early there. Kind of getting too excited. Something I want to bring up too is that Nerf Akali does have the faster ultimate.
IMC Zachary going in again, but not going to be taking out the ward. Now he's getting picked out.
But Zachary in a little bit of trouble here. Should be able to get out just fine though. Again, we see Swagnarok use his ult. Really good peel there. And that'll just be
wards in that bottom river.
Yes.
This next dragon I'm calling is going to be very, very contested. Everyone wants a piece of that act. It's going to be another Infernal, so if we're able to see that go over to Nova, that's going to be a big deal. You do not want two Infernals.
Kind of catching Olo out here saying, get out of here, this is my ward. That is true, Olo has enough mana to kind of sway off Faker with his ultimate.
Kind of being that left nut action to his right nut, if you know what I mean.
Vengeful Maelstrom, though, it's a good point to bring up. Oh, wait a minute. Dicex kind of wants to get Jim Jim or Swagnarok here. Gets knocked up from Jim Jim. Ends up giving his life for nothing.
And Jim Jim was so low, but because we saw that ultimate used much earlier, both by Caitlyn, both by MF, there isn't enough damage to really secure it. She didn't have a second more or another proc on that Make It Rain to actually secure that kill. Again, this bottom lane is super contested by both of these.
Wait a minute here, Lupus. We see Nerfakali and Polo get onto Zachary. Gonna catch him out, and that is gonna be the end of his life with Unleashed Power completely decimating Zachary.
Very well played, very good assumptions as to where he's going to be. This offensive ward coverage is again being a huge factor. We saw it in the first game, the wards from on the blue side blue buff. And how impactful that was to get that early kill onto Nautilus, shut him down, deny him so many blue buffs. We're seeing that now going on to this Amumu. These tank junglers are getting shut down constantly by the opposition.
Right. A little bit of a blue buff transfer, additionally.
No one's really fighting over this Herald, and while they do have the wards over it, we could see a push, but it's not really impactful. And Olo, again, low on mana. This is when Yasuo wants to fight him.
Definitely, especially since there's a little bit of a minion wave here. Does have the knockup. Doesn't quite pull the trigger. Decides to save last breath for something a little bit more tempting later.
A little bit more final. Certainly. We're seeing Infernal spawn within 15 seconds now. Amumu getting that deep ward on, or not. Never mind.
Meanwhile, on the top lane, right out of Faker does use last breath, trying to get a little bit more aggressive here onto Olo. Not going to be quite enough there, though.
A lot of wards, a lot of vision in this bottom lane. Now, what I do want to point out, Olo has teleport. He needs to recall to actually be effective if he's going to be doing this and affecting this play.
Stun! The stun! Exactly. Blast webs and Wolfie Meister will take out Nerfakali, please, with the life form disintegration rate.
Very well played by Amumu. Beautiful flash bandage toss coming in. Again, as I called it, this is going to be a very, very contested Infernal Drake.
Direct pulls the trigger, decides to knock up Jim Jim. Meanwhile, Bullet Time coming out doing a lot of damage. Swagnar trying to get in a bit better position to get crippled. Meanwhile, Snowking trying to answer back. Zachary's going to have to run for his life here after losing Wolfie Meister.
Beautiful play, though. That's going to be really worth it. The fact that they were able to go 2 for 1, but losing Infernal is going to be another hit. Imagine late game when we do see Ancient Dragon going over, dual Infernals getting bonuses. That's going to be a very, very punishing Caitlyn.
Yes, and I feel that trade was better for UMD Nova just because they only lost their support, right?
No, they also lost Nerfakali, I believe, in that trade.
Oh, had they? Okay. No, Nerfakali had already died in the middle.
Okay, she was...
Yes.
That she wasn't there for that, okay. That's why it went so poorly.
That's to say even more, like, they do that with our 4v5.
Alright, no, Nova definitely comes out on top on this one.
Let's see here. Now there's going to be a little bit more convergence into the middle lane.
Alright, so we do see still so many wards down from this coming out from Nova. 2 control wards around Dragon. We see a lot of tunnels. We do see a lot of action on this map.
Snowkin gets a little slowed. Won't be enough to kind of confirm any kills.
Snowcane's actually under-leveled at this point. He did play a little bit poorly. Like, he should have been able to capitalize Swagnarok, but netting away definitely set him behind.
Right. Something to address also. Apparently...
Oh,
meanwhile, Snowgame gets caught out by Swagnarok. He's Chain of Corruption. However, Swagnarok gets a kill, or gets killed by Nerfakali. Jim caught out by Cripple's bullet time.
Beautiful, beautiful chain of corruption coming out from Varus there. Another Varus player showing dominance in landing these skill shots, securing the kills as needed. But it was a little bit much to invest into just one kill pickup. If they would have been able to turn it into a turret, now they have, it would have been much worth.
RoboKitty is gonna get this top lane. Have been recently told that what they address him as is RoboKitty.
Okay, then.
That is third tower gonna go down this game.
A lot of ground being made up here before we even get to the 20-minute mark. 4 towers down.
Let's see.
We see all outer turrets except for mid lanes down.
Definitely. Again, more of this ward battle going on, as you mentioned.
And also, both teams at almost 20 minutes are within 700 gold. This is a very, very tight-knit game.
Little bit of a dance going on in the middle lane. Not going to be too much there.
A lot of seeds and a lot of... Again, we're seeing a lot of poke coming out from this team on St. Olaf's. Varus, Zyra, and Zerath.
Seeing a little bit more focus on the mid lane as well. Luckily, Swagnarok, again, just landing the poke. As we mentioned before... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go on.
Whoa! Snowcane pops off the ultimate there, trying to hope that Ace Mother gets him. A little too ambitious.
That is going to be absolutely terrifying late game for a lot of these characters on St. Olaf's. Unless you have Yasuo around, you're going to get chunked. And there's almost nothing you can do about it unless someone takes a hit for you. But the only one comfortable taking a hit is going to be Zachary. These are a lot of situations that they are going to need to start worrying about, especially with those Joel Infernos, especially when Ancient Dragons start coming on. We do see a Mound Drake spawning in a minute or 2 left on that, and Baron is now live. There's a lot of objectives on the field, and we don't see many wards outside of right around Middle River.
Right. That's an area that's been contested here for about 5 minutes or so. We've seen a lot of attention getting put into this lane.
They want to start gaining that ground. Middle towers are so important because just the sheer amount of ground that they take away from the enemy. Having that safety zone, or at least that just that feeling of comfort that you're near one of your own towers, is really, really big mental impact on this game.
Right. It also can give like the enemy team a lot of wiggle room, right? If they get the enemy's tower down.
To retreat through mid lane, take the most direct route, don't worry about shooting.
Corruption going on to Nerf Kali, please. She might be seeing the end of her days. Gets the lead about Wolfmeister. Meanwhile, Cripple trying to save Nerf Kali with the bullet time. Not quite enough. We still see a continuation here. Not going to be much else coming out, though.
Very good by this Wolfmeister. Beautiful mastery of using those Eternal Death Rays. Really sinking everything into this Nerf Kali.
Right. Swagnarok did a good job getting that pick out as well. However, they kind of leave mid lane a bit unattended.
After everyone recall, but you do have Yasuo there with that.
Oh, right on a Faker. Might just end up going down here. Not quite, as RoboKitty kind of pulls back, but is forced to flash out of there. And now RoboKitty getting a bit much more damage than he can handle with. Zachary almost claims him out here. Might still just be enough. We see Swagnarok trying to land some pokes here. Both teams trying to swarm around and protect each other.
Mound Drake is now on the field. It's a matter of...
Oh, Nerf Kali takes Jim. Will get killed by Swagnarok. However, Cripple answers it back with a hill, or not a hill.
Now we're going to see them rotate. Now you see Malachi Rek'Sai going straight for that Mound Drake. They do have a couple people up, but with 3v4, you're not going to be trying to contest it, especially when your Vel'Koz is retreating and not going to be putting his life on the line to get this dragon. It's the first Mount Drake of the game, so we're going to be seeing that go down. We're possibly going to be seeing 4, maybe even 5.
Watch Zachary here. Might be a bit too caught out. Not quite. Wolfmeister says, no thank you, get off of him. Snowkin. Kind of just see if he can get anything out there.
This is the one time I'm surprised I didn't see a bullet rate. It was up.
That is true, yeah, that would have been an optional time for you.
Especially since Vel'Koz was so low. If that was your target, maybe you might not have gotten a Mumu. But if you were targeting Vel'Koz and would have angled that properly, you could have definitely given him a lot of damage and a good run for his money.
Right, something I notice here, and it's something that's kind of making this middle lane series land so long, I feel is the wave clear coming out from both teams.
Mm-hmm. You're definitely right. Nerfakali with Syndra and Cripple and Misfortune is definitely keeping the red minions back. While on the other side, we see Zyra going
Flash
in.
initiation coming from Jim, and Nerfakali still gets him before he drops.
Blowing your Flash and Ignite.
Just for a
that's pretty expensive for a kill. For a 1-to-1 trade, but they do get this tower with Syndra not being there to pressure.
Oh, Zyrex gets a knockup. Robokitty just nearby to try and get that kind of lockdown. It might not be enough here as right now the Faker tries to get a little bit more. Bullet time. Gonna be doing a lot of damage on the Wolfmeister. Meanwhile, Swagneron kills Robokitty. Zachary with the ultimate coming out from Amumu here. Snow King gonna have to run for his life. Ignite in Yasuo will take him down. Double kill coming in for right now the Faker here. And that'll be the mid lane tier 2 and an ace.
Okay, maybe that Flash and Ignite to keep Syndra off the map for that fight was extremely worth it. I take that back, that was a beautiful play. Very well done by St. Olaf, capitalizing on it, the lack of damage coming out from just Syndra not being there. Akali, or Nerfakali is a really big part of this team. She's done the most kill participation of anyone on this team for Nova, and you don't really see Misfortune packing a hard punch yet.
Right, a little awkward there in the blue buff. Both Jim and Right Now wanted it.
It's always awkward around blue buff. He's so alone now. Hi. RIP season 5. Anyway, so going back to this, we're going to be seeing Infernal Drake spawn in a couple of minutes here. That's going to be the 3rd Infernal if we see Nova continue to hold out supremacy over objectives. Rek'Sai, Caitlyn can do so much so quickly to these objectives, especially since they're stationary, just auto attack away. That's definitely something that they need to keep in mind on St. Olaf. That if you have 3 Infernals on Caitlyn, she's going to be packing a lot of punch. Now, we did see Right Nut go so deep and so well onto this Caitlyn. He did not let her get away, and that's what we want to see from the Right Nut. We want to see Zachary. We want to see them get onto these carries and hold them there. Hold them there for Wolfmeister's Death Ray. Hold them there for Swagneron's arrows. Just to keep this damage and keep punishing this team. We do see a lot of wards out around Baron. We might be seeing a fight around that sometime soon.
Right. A little bit of a dance here. Cripple's trying to pop Zachary's shield.
The problem is right enough of Fakers all the way down in bottom. They have a 4v5 in middle. If we get Rek'Sai there fast enough and are able to capitalize on this tower, unless we see Right Nut path up straight, he's not going to be able to get there fast enough. He's going for this inner turret on the bottom, and I don't know if it's going to be worth it. Chunk coming out onto Wolfmeister.
Gets popped out. Yeah, Snowcane tries to get the ace in the hole there, just trying to ward them off maybe, not use it for getting any kills.
Who just used Flash? I swear I just replied. Anyway, but we do see this inner turret getting chunked now, and they're trying to rotate. It looks like Yasuo is just trying to back off. He understands that he's in a vulnerable position.
Right. Meanwhile, though, you know, he kind of sticked around, didn't get too much.
They did get that turret, though, and again, that does free up a lot of rain. There's still a turret behind. They need to
Oh, Chain of Corruption onto Nerfakali. He does get quite a bit of damage onto the enemy team. Guys, just gonna go for it. Go ham, go and get Swag Rocks if he can. Might have overstayed. Zachary doesn't get the kill.
No one gets the kill other than Vel'Koz onto Nerfakali. Again, Nerfakali is getting picked so far in advance to these fights. Chain of Corruption locking her down, and Wolfiemeister just following it up with a 1-2 punch from these carries in this game is being so impactful right now. They're really feeling this punch.
Yeah, another thing to point out there too, even though Nerfakali gets picked out, she does. We're seeing her do a lot of damage.
We do. The thing is, we need her to do more. We can't let Nerfakali keep getting chunked down, and that's what needs to be going through the minds of Nova. They need Nerfakali. She is so impactful on that Syndra to their entire team. Just with that CC, with that crowd control, and the entire berating that she can do with that ultimate on a single target, she can take Wolfiemeister out of the equation. She just needs.
Hold on, wait a minute here, Charlie. Zayas gets a little too ambitious here. Gets chunked down, almost gets kind of caught up.
That's
there.
what we see. Nerfakali doing a big chunk, and then right now to Faker, because he's trying to prepare for the ultimate coming out from Syndra, is not able to block Caitlyn's ace in the hole. Inferno Drake looks like it's going to be going over to St. Olaf, but
This
Nova's
is
going to contest.
Contested. Robo Kitty just looking for a pick. Nerfakali already getting brought down to half. A huge death ray coming out from Wolfiemeister. Meanwhile, Robo Kitty trying to answer back by getting Wolfiemeister. May have overextended quite too far. Rek'Sai still does get red buff. Zachary gets the kill. Meanwhile, Swagnarok gets a double kill. Almost a triple, I believe. And this will be another ace coming out.
You're not taking out Wolfiemeister. He's the hugest threat. As the entire team compliments him so well. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. With the lockdown that he got from Amumu, from Varus, you're going to be walking into a snare, and then you're going to have Syra plants harassing, slowing you. Wolfiemeister just sits back, locks turn mode, and just death rates the entire team. Baron, such an easy pickup. They actually were not able to secure the Inferno Drake that did go over to Nova. So if they can push this late game and survive this Baron buff, that's going to be great for them. But with that deficit now, they are nearing 6k. They are over 6k gold behind, 8 kills behind, and they're 1 tower behind. But now we just see Baron buff. There's going to be a lot more ground gained for St. Olaf.
Right. If we take a breath here, the Donahue, we kind of see, you know, St. Olaf, they've gotten a lot here. They've definitely established their dominance, their lead here. What are some ways you feel Nova can kind of cut the bleeding or stop the bleeding now and kind of crawl their way back in?
I think you're going to need to have your Maokai and your Rek'Sai commit so much harder. You're going to need to see a lot of CC negation. We do see a Quicksilver Sash on Caitlyn, and that's just the first step. You have so much magic damage. You don't see much past a Spectre's Cow on Maokai. And Rek'Sai's got health. That doesn't really help when you have Rabadons and Echo coming out. Morel and Malcon also on this because he does so much damage. He has the highest kill participation.
Right now,
Faker is Sparks.
Dancing a little bit here with Robo Kitty.
So you really need to start seeing those carries taken out of fights. Though they have so much kill participation just between themselves, you don't see many kills on anyone on this team. But if you look at the kill deaths perspective, solely deaths, you see Syndra has the highest amount. They're targeting her so well, and every time you see death rate go out, it is targeting her, prioritizing her. She's the one that Vel'Koz wants dead.
Right. Something I wanted to point out as well, real quickly, Donahue, is the fact that Snowcane used Ace in the Hole a bit early there. Didn't really get much out of it as well.
Snowcane keeps using that early, and he really does try to get use that as early harass. He is trying to get that damage done, but it's just when we need that damage to secure a kill on Vel'Koz, it's not there. That strategy isn't working for him. So he really needs to start holding it back and maintaining it. It's just we need that damage strictly on Vel'Koz, and when there's an open shot, right now would be perfect. And you weren't going to die immediately after.
Right, and we see, talking about like the poke coming out, Chain of Corruption onto Xyx. I thought it was ambitious, but he gets the kill onto him. Great job coming out from Swagner up there. Meanwhile, Zachary wants more. Uses the ultimate, gets a kill into Wolf. There.
Death Ray on Nerf Akali. Death Ray on Nerf Akali. How do I sum up these team fights? Death Ray on Nerf Akali. Every time. She does not have the HP or the MR to really sustain, but she doesn't have anyone else with that long-range CC besides her that can interrupt it, that can save herself. So she really needs to commit almost when she sees that to try and throw an orb and interrupt that caster.
Things are starting to fall to pieces here.
If you're talking about inhibitors, I completely agree. That's the second one down in under 2 minutes. And even though they don't have the dragons backing their damage or upping their game, we're seeing so much getting put out from this team, from Varus, from Vel'Koz. There is so much damage. And we do see that Ace in the Hole coming out again, but it's on Zyra and not Varus?
They tried to stop the back there.
Yes, and they did stop the back on Zyra. She would have been able to stop the back if on both, maybe, if you were able to talk Varus into taking the trying to get the block off on Zyra. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you.
And you had vision on him. You certainly knew he was recalling in that bush. And now we do see Dragon is going to be coming up. That will be our Elder Dragon of the first of the game. We don't see many wards from Nova on the field, though we do see one in the Dragon Pit. And we do see a couple wards in the river by Dragon coming out from St. Olaf. They know that this is going to be a highly contested objective. They're trying for it, and they're going to be setting up very quickly for this. 20 seconds until that's up.
Right, I was about to ask you, Donahue, you know, we see St. Olaf kind of just wrapping up, trying to find just anything else they can use to close up the game. We're talking about the bigger buffs here. What else do you think they need to do to kind of just finalize this game, get them?
They've been playing this exactly how they need to. They know their win condition is to take out Syndra, and they've been doing that. Sitting back and waiting for the right time to go all in, or waiting for RoboKitty and Xyx to miss their time, and they've been capitalizing on every time. And this Dragon is getting...
Xyx already below 50% and tries to get a knockup, doesn't get much. Meanwhile, Disintegration Ray does a lot to Nerf Akali. Cripple does get shut down. Meanwhile, Zachary uses his ult, instantly stops anything from happening. A triple kill coming in, a quadra kill coming in for right now to Faker, trying to get the pentakill here. Snowcane saying, no, you won't get me this time. Right now, still trying to be a bit persistent there.
He's slowed.
He's slowed. This might be the pentakill. A pentakill coming in for right now to Faker. A bit delayed, but one nonetheless.
Well played, right, Faker. And this team did so well. And in that fight, we did see Wolfie Meister finally go down. He was out of position, but with the rest of the team already being so far ahead, you have over 12,000 gold lead, 13,000 gold lead. You got 6 towers, 7 towers. It's just, there was too much. It was just a little bit of a case of too little, too late.
And something to point out there, you know, coming in, a few of the members from Nova were feeling confidence. And what that points out there is, like, you can have all the confidence in the world, but if the execution isn't there, you know.
Where's the magic resist? Rek'Sai? There's really no items built. Nerf Akali finally got that Negatron cloak, but honestly, damage at this point is what you needed, because you needed to make sure that Vel'Koz was dropping quicker. That's what it was doing. The disintegration ray was blowing out the entire team. Every time there was a moo, every time there was a change of corruption, that locked down the kills, and that locked down so much damage and so much pressure in a zone that the game constantly, those fights always were going to St. Olaf. All right, we're going to be taking another 5-6 minute break. Then we'll be coming up with the last game of the night. Alright, and we're back. Coming into this last game, it was going to be Macalester versus Winona? Correct me if I said that wrong.
Winona.
Are they missing an N?
When I had read it up, I thought it was Winona.
Alright, so what do you think of that last game that we just... Winona. It's okay. It is Winona. Confirmed. What do you think about that last game? Again, we saw a very, very impactful, very, very strong game. And Varus is 2-0 for this game, for these games tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what I expected, at least from the Varus. He as well as Jin are both really good right now in the bottom lane due to the fact that they synchronize really well with lethality. They just go Yumu's into it's I'm pulling a blank. Edge of Night. Yumu's into Edge of Night.
Yeah, and they also synchronize very well with the mage meta. That they're not struggling to compete with the damage. They're not struggling to compete with their supports for the kills. They're actually holding their own damage-wise. And mind you, they do lack that mobility. They do lack that utility, and they're not really bringing in the most well-rounded kits. But the one thing that we can all confirm that they do have is your damage.
That's true. Something to kind of point out is, do you think we might see Varus again this game?
Picture banned. Picture banned. Calling it. That's my that's my belief. With how impactful he is and how well these teams have been building around him, they've been having very, very impactful junglers. They've been having really good top laners and strong mid laners. I'm assuming we're just going to see more of the same, honestly.
Fair enough, fair enough. What do you feel about the ward coverage that game too? We definitely saw a lot more wards being placed, I feel.
A lot more wards, and it was fun to see the transition from defense, utility to offense and invading wards. As soon as we started seeing St. Olaf start warding in the enemy jungle, we started seeing them skyrocket with that lead. Getting further and further, picking better and better, and going much further ahead, and getting these very good team fights where they were fully aware of all of the positionings.
Let's see here. So it's unfortunate too because Nova, a few members from Nova were feeling confident going into that as well.
Again, confidence over cocky. It took them too long to adapt to what they needed to do or diagnose what they needed to do as a team to win. Their win cons were that they were able to take Vel'Koz off the market. That they were able to entirely erase Vel'Koz and survive the ECC. The problem is, you take Vel'Koz, then you got Varus. Once you kill Varus, you've already had Yasuo in your backline for a minute. He's already been impacting you, and not to mention, Zyra was a huge threat that game. We saw it early on in the laning phase, where her seeds, where her plants were doing so much damage to the Kaylin and to the Misfortune. Misfortune had nothing compared to Zyra's impact on the game as far as damage, as far as that. A lot of the bullet times that we saw didn't have an impact. A lot of the ace in the holes didn't get a kill. Almost every single chain of corruption got you something.
I would disagree to say a lot of the bullet times did quite a bit of damage. It just like wasn't quite enough for the rest of the team to kind of capitalize on those. But a lot of the instant holes were used a bit more for poke and not quite enough for finalizing.
Yeah, there was damage, but it wasn't anything other than that. It didn't go any kills or assists. It didn't go any it didn't secure anything. There were no objectives. There was no covering fire on towers. Remember, I used that expression earlier on, that they didn't have mobility, but they had covering fire. And that's how we saw it play out. We saw Vel'Koz get picked out, but he was constantly throwing things back. We saw Varus get picked out, but then Vel'Koz and other people backed him up. They played to their team and the fact that they needed to be together, but they didn't play overly aggressive, where they may have lost. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, so we do have everyone in here. We should be all ready. We're calling for ready checks. I'm going to put mine in the chat. I'm going to put it again because I like seeing my name. We do see a lot of ready checks coming out.
And with that, we're probably just about to commence the third and final game of the night. Any second now. Here we go.
Seconds off the clock before Rise was taken away. Again, it looks like we're getting a lot of targeted bans, a lot of teams doing their research. LeBlanc taken off the field. Are we going to see... What kind of junglers do you think we're going to see? Last time we saw 2 tank junglers. In the other game, in the first game of the night, we had Nautilus and Kha'Zix, so we had 1 tank, 1 carry. Not seeing Kha'Zix, and we're not seeing Azira.
Definitely. We're not seeing the LeBlanc either, which was really strong.
And not seeing the Rengar, banned by the same side.
So yes, due to these bans here, I believe, yes, we're probably going to see more tank/utility junglers.
Okay. Vi still on the board. Camilla still on the board.
This is Winona's last chance to ban Camilla. If she's not banned, I am confident she will get picked up almost instantly. I will be surprised if she's not. And Echo ban. All right, the Thresh being first picked. We were talking about this early in the setup. Yeah, Thresh can do a lot for a team in the bottom lane.
Yo, you know how much of a Thresh fan I am. And seeing him being brought into this meta, yes, he's not an AP, but darn can he bring a lot of punch to an early team fight. With that death sentence, with that flay, he's going to be locking and knocking everyone up on the enemy team, especially when they don't have much of a kit themselves. That's where he strives. Yes, and the longer the game goes, the less of an impact a Thresh can have. But depending on the amount of actions per turn that he's able to do, we do see that Thresh getting locked in. And Camilla's still on the board. Maokai and Hecarim.
I do like the Hecarim jungle here. It's still really, really annoying to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Hecarim is going to be... As far as when I've seen Hecarim, they've either done very well early and snowball, or they've stayed at a low level and not committed much at the end.
Right.
Does that make like they either are always relevant, or they have a very hard time keeping up with their enemy jungler. Maokai, again, we did see how much of an impact he had, though there were some fallouts in a top lane against Yasuo. Trundle might be even that much harder for a Maokai to fight.
This could be a Trundle support. Well, no, of course it couldn't. We just had a Thresh. My brain just skipped there for a second.
Thresh jungle Trundle support. Got him.
We could still see a Camille support. We saw in the LCS, and in MNLCS it does have some wacky kind of pocket picks. But this might just be the game where...
You could see Camille top and a Maokai support. There's a lot of different flexes we could pick, because if these players are feeling confident, Funky B and Fear Fracture not hovering anything, both with Flash and Heal. So, not really sure what we're going to be seeing picked up. The Trundle, again, most likely going to be swapped for that top lane. Probably seeing a couple of trades going out. Kindred!
We see the
Kindred?
get picked. Hovering the Kindred. 10 seconds left. Gonna make a decision soon. Let's
Kindred?
see. Nah,
Janna.
just yanking our chains. Gonna be a really safe pick with Janna here. I do like the Jhin pickup.
We were talking about it earlier. Varus is still on the board. And there it is!
I honestly like Varus into Caitlyn a lot more than I like Jhin into Caitlyn. However,
Yes.
Jhin scales a lot better than Varus does, so that could be the appeal of picking him into Caitlyn.
Again, having that big initiator, especially when you see Hecarim charging in and being able to instantly lock him down after that, that's gonna be a huge impact. And we did see Maokai get messed up a lot by that too. Now he's hovering Vayne and Corki. And I am very confused. My emotions are being played with and I feel uncomfortable.
I feel it's definitely going to be Varus or Jhin, especially considering there's a Caitlyn.
I don't think
surprised
Vayne would
about
be a
the
good pick.
Corki. No, Vayne would absolutely be a terrible pick, I feel. Is
All
that a Corki? It is. That's going to be Corki mid then.
Again, we talked about this in one of the games earlier. They're going to have, at most, Corki as your hybrid, unless he wants to go full AP, which would be unconventional, to say the least.
This allows the mid lane counter pick for Winona, though.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we do have one last pick, and that's probably going to be our mid lane hero to go up against Corki. Arguably, we have seen mid lane Varuses in seasons past, but that was kind of when AD carries were in a stronger position, correct?
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to see that, especially with a Hecarim, a very, very not mobile, but he can certainly charge in and be a nuisance.
Oh, I would definitely call Hecarim mobile. He's gonna.
As opposed to some jumping over walls, this guy just kind of runs in like a rammer.
That's true.
Talia?
I like Talia into Corki.
Okay, so we got Talia into Corki in the mid lane. Couple of trades going out to reassociate everyone.
This is gonna be the game where Camille isn't picked or banned.
There goes my 100%. Rest in peace, my league GPA.
All right.
But it was right on Varus.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some. So now...
I'm surprised to see the Trundle top. But at the same time, it's going to be really good into these tanks because you will be absorbing their resistances.
Resorbing, stripping, and using against them.
Yes.
So one thing I'm going to like to see is how Rek'Sai and Hecarim go. They're both mobile in their own ways. Rek'Sai jumping over walls, jumping through holes, and being able to get anywhere on the map nearly instantly. Corki, mid lane, now that's a curious lane for me. I don't know where to call that.
Mid lane's interesting because they both brought exhaust, right?
Exactly. They know there's going to be some times where they need to get out, have a getaway free card other than Flash. They're not going to be playing it offensively, and they're not going to be going for kills. They're really playing it defensive, and it looks like they're going to be trying to sit back and kind of relax. I'm interested to see how that plays out. As far as this bottom lane, you got Thresh can really mess up a Caitlyn. Let's be honest. As far as supports go, I would hate seeing Thresh on the other team as a Caitlyn. Flaying into the net, death sentence into the net, and as well as just being caught near the box. Not fun.
Yeah, but to counteract that, we do have one of the safest kind of supports. We have Janna, right? A lot of peel, a lot of shields, a lot of heal with her ult. She has a lot that can kind of help out Fear Fracture here against Lee and Formic Nightfall.
That's definitely something that is going to be impactful. And again, playing at distance, playing through the minions is going to be something that's that is going to be their strong suit. That's their win con for this lane. Sitting back, poking, getting hits. But as we saw last game, where Varus beats Caitlyn in certain distances.
Yeah, I feel Varus definitely will just be able to poke down Caitlyn. The only thing that sucks is in the rock, paper, scissors that is bot lane, poke's always been really bad against sustain, right? So especially with Janna being able to shield and kind of just peel, it's a little rough for Lee.
I feel Varus to capitalize is going to need to wait out and bait out these shields. Especially if Thresh is going to be harassing them with that flay passive in this bottom lane. We're going to be seeing a lot of there's a lot of threats to this Caitlyn as far as poke goes.
You have
So if you can bait down that shield and then land a Varus Q, or especially if he has the blighted arrows passive on her.
Right. Something you need to be careful of, though, is kind of understand that Janna has her Monsoon. She has so many ways to kind of just get people out of the range of her AD carry.
And it certainly will plan, and I'm definitely curious how to say it. I'm so bottom and mid lane are really my two question marks. I do think Trundle's going to be doing better in this top lane than that guy. Again,
Definitely.
Trundle gets a lot more out of auto attacks than
a Maokai.
Than a Maokai, yes.
Trundle's been notorious for constantly always being this really annoying champion in the top lane as well, and jungle.
It's kind of a troll.
Yeah. That was, I swear to God, that was the whole concept, right? I was like, we're gonna make a troll and we're gonna make him feel like a troll, you know. Gonna kill him, psych, pillar. Gonna be tanky, just kidding, doesn't matter. His ultimate will say no thank you. Now we get to see the runway, kind of see what they got for the skins and whatnot.
Okay, so it's curious. Trundle has Undying Grasp?
Undying Grasp? Yeah.
So that's again going to be a major factor in how he does in these trades. Whereas Maokai has the Colossus.
I feel Trundle can get away with it because his only like knockup is his pillar. So it's probably more beneficial for him to go with it. But then again, the pillar
Colossus has a longer cooldown as well. So it's going to be a big factor in these sustained duels. Because that timer is ticking as long as you're in minion in combat. It just only activates and goes on cooldown whenever you hit a enemy champion. So getting that bite on Maokai when he's in range is going to be impactful, to say the least. Another line of scrimmage start here.
Right, and this is the second time tonight we've seen him.
Minions have spawned.
Haven't really seen any early invades. No one really wanting to risk too much in these early games. I do just want to point out, Thresh has Greenfather's Gift, so his harassing on Caitlyn is going to be that much stronger whenever he has that flay passive.
Alright, now we see kind of your classic starts here. Both junglers gonna get the bottom leash.
Trundle placing a late ward so that in case Peter does try to go for that blue buff, he's going to get caught out.
Right. Now we're seeing Lee just slowly and surely starting up the poke session that will be bottom lane. And right there in top lane, we see the mastery coming in handy. A little bit of action coming out in this bottom lane, not too much. Just warming up, filling each other out, just seeing what it can get away with.
See, again, Grasp of the Undying is going to be building up anytime and just stealing that health passively.
Little hyper here. Okan getting really chunked out.
So that's what I'm saying. That Grasp of the Undying is going to almost counteract Maokai's passive entirely. So that Maokai's going to have to rely on his passive Colossus to actually help him in these fights when he does have a passive. Though we do see now Hecarim roaming towards the top,
That's
maybe
right.
think about a gank.
There's no wards there too. We're gonna have to keep our eye open for that Peter. Trying to get in. Oh, really nice timed flash there coming out from Swide.
That was probably one of the longest flashes I've ever seen.
Again, but that does give it a chance for Peter to come up for a repeat gank later on.
Which after Krugs he may be doing. Now, Talia does see Rek'Sai.
Yes. Something. Ooh.
That was close. That was really
gonna be a
close.
tricky one there. Lee taking quite a bit of damage here.
But all that damage was also put back onto Janna. One of the other things that you can do is if Janna shields Caitlyn, go for her. Take her out. She's vulnerable. She is fairly squishy, and she's not going to be doing much damage herself. Especially in this early phase. She's not like a Zyra where you have to worry about those siege with that damage that's going to be coming out unexpectedly. Her damage is very, very calculable in small numbers at that.
Right. At the same time, though, you know, Janna will be able to show that fear factor a bit more. We see Lee's already used his consumable. Meanwhile, fear is still
Both of the
having.
EDCs have used their consumables, and Bars is actually pulling ahead with CC.
Oh, Formic Nightfall does get hit up onto the trap. They're gonna have to flash.
Meanwhile, in the top lane, we do have Trundle and Rek'Sai.
On the lockdown side, Peter's trying to finish off that kill. Might not be enough. I changed my mind. Here comes Slade. But meanwhile, No Boots says, I'm gonna take back everything you thought you'd get away with. Hear me worse. You're trying to be a bit aggressive.
It's pronounced no suits.
Ooh.
Less.
You right there. Or what if he's just trying to be fancy? You know?
I mean, I don't know. Some people don't understand German language. It's weird. So we do have Infernal Drake now, and we don't see many wards. I would love to see a fight over Dragon. We did not see how impactful it could be. Again, Vars was just doing too much damage for Caitlyn in our last game.
Almost gets a kill on the New Boots.
Good job by Funky B by not trying to commit with the flash, knowing that there was a Valkyrie involved. But he also didn't use that exhaust. That might have been pretty helpful when the tower shots came in.
Right, definitely. That yeah, with the exhaust reducing the resistances, definitely would have been a kill there.
And another thing to mention, Corki back to at 5. He didn't back at 6, so that's going to be a delayed pickup for the first package.
Meanwhile,
And the only wards that we see are really by our lanes. We don't really see anything too invasive or too far up the river.
yeah. Well, the thing is, you know, if you get caught out trying to put in a deep ward from either of these junglers, it can be really bad.
Mm-hmm.
We do see Peter kind of roaming around getting some stuff.
Peter's looking for it. He knows Corki doesn't have the package, and Flash is still down. Meanwhile, we do have Exhaust up in both parties. Corki's going to find him.
More ward battling going on here.
Oh my god, Talia absolutely throwing this Corki around more ways than one.
Swide trying to pick a fight here. Cannonball is 6th, however, Swide activates his ultimate as well. Okan going down. Gonna be a kill for Swide.
That's what I'm talking about. Grasp of the Undying on the bite, being a huge amount of damage just chunking this tree.
Ooh, you see Hear Me Roar, maybe trying to get a lane clearing going on.
They don't have wards in the bushes. This is gonna be bad if they think that they're safe there.
Hear Me Roar doesn't have his flash or a flash knockup though.
I think he'll need it if he can get into this next bush or bait Janna going into it. Or with the death sentence.
Get hooked! Meanwhile, Henry Ward tries to get the knockup going. Peter answers back. Formic Natural already low. We see a TP coming in from Stwide. Lee gets the Q onto Peter. Great piercing arrow coming in.
Trundle actually canceling that teleport. Deciding to stay up top, not going to be worth it. Instead of going down there. Beautiful play by Thresh, by Varus, and Rek'Sai getting away scot-free. Not a single kill given over. One thing I want to point out is Rek'Sai did kind of miss the lantern. That would have closed the gap a little bit better and maybe have given them a second kill, either onto the Janna or the Caitlyn.
Again, we see a little bit more ward battles going on.
Blue buff on Varus. You're going to be seeing Qs for days.
Quintessential when it comes to how much he can poke. Meanwhile, Stwide's still just trying to get some dominance out there in the top lane.
Dragon going straight over to the Rek'Sai. Beautiful.
A solo?
Yeah. I've been busy watching this duel in mid. Beautiful play by this Rek'Sai, getting that first Infernal. So the next dragon that we're going to be seeing spawn is going to be our Cloud Drake?
Meanwhile, Henry Ward a little low. Not too low to take out some birds. And now get a moment to breathe, kind of formulate our thoughts.
Hecarim placing a deep ward and taking out some of the tunnels as he gets the chance. He's going to be nearing top lane.
Another fight here. Okan activates the Maelstrom. Gets out.
Now we don't see any mana on Trundle. Trundle's passive, though, it could give it away.
We see Peter coming around here.
Nah.
Luckily, there is
fast
no
enough.
coverage.
There's a lot of good coverage coming out on this middle and top side of the river from both teams. Again, tunnel getting destroyed by Hecarim. He's really making sure that there's no possible way Rek'Sai can sneak up on anyone.
Right, something I noticed really quickly too, Donahue, is the fact that Lee decided, wait a minute, Death Sentence lands on the Fear Factor, the flag, the box, there's no escape. Maybe not quite. Wow. Gets Sleep with the ultimate, now it's getting turned back down to Lee.
That was very well played by Caitlyn. Did she get hit by the box, or was that Janna?
No, she might have been hit by the box, I feel.
The wall was down.
Janna, and it's something that we had pointed out in champs, like Janna used her ultimate on Monsoon to kind of push back the attackers and also at the same time heal Fear.
Mm-hmm. And that's definitely something that we're going to see more of. Janna is going to be very essential to this Caitlyn surviving. But when you're going to have a lot of people being threats, and especially with gap closers like Thresh and Rek'Sai, one Monsoon might not be enough.
We see the first circle going down there. And something I wanted to ask you about, Donahue, is the fact that we see Lee opt out of the early lethality items, such as Serrated Dirk and the such, and instead for damage.
Yes, they're focusing on more damage. You don't really have much early armor coming out in this game other than Malachi, who's trying to sustain against this Trundle. It's gonna be a hard fight. So with that, lethality would be great against armor, but to just up raw damage is going to be very impactful, even more so.
Right.
Especially when you're going up against just someone that can give health.
So much damage there. Lee a little caught out there. Hella arrows to try and stall out some times, but Funky B is gonna say no, you're out of position. Meanwhile, Hear Me Roar does get a great knockup. That'll be the death of both Peter and Funky. No Boots still trying to go for more here. Gets exhausted, is getting autoed down by Fear Factor. Death Sentence just barely missing that.
No Boots, cocky, trying to go for too much and exhausted the Janna. He should have turned his focus and then exhausted the Caitlyn. If he would have kept Caitlyn there long enough to actually have Thresh get a couple of skills off of her. Meanwhile,
really low here, but still gets out. Literally just slapped the turret for most of that trade until he decided to turn on Okan.
Yeah, Trundle is not going to put up with much. With that passive giving him health back,
And so low. Will he get out? Flashes. This should be his escape.
Trundle is still supreme, though he went into that battle with a little bit low health. Again, if he has his ultimate up, Okan needs to be wary of that. We do see Talia coming up to this Baron. We may be seeing a Rift Herald be on the spot. They might try to take that. They do have a couple of control wards coming out.
Yeah, it's a buff that's kind of been, or it's an objective that's been a bit neglected, I feel, just in general.
We haven't seen one yet today.
Alright here. Meanwhile, things are a bit awkward for Winona's bottom lane. They don't have a turret to kind of seek shelter behind.
And if Fear Fracture gets called out by someone, Talia is actually going to be roaming down. They do have wards and they do know she's there now.
Dead Sleep right in front of Formic. He does put it out of the box, but Fear Fracture's already right there. Talia trying to get enough damage onto it. That'll be a kill.
Beautiful.
Meanwhile, in the top lane, Dwight gets a turret. Might even try to turn and take a fight. Decides not to, but we'll stick around for some farm.
When he has that Grasp of Undying, he's going to go for that help. That's how he's playing it, and he's doing so great, like managing that health regen opportunity. Getting funky, I do not want to pass up how good that knockup was. He's been really dominant, and really even keeping Corki in check in this mid lane.
Right, and we're seeing some things come out. Yeah,
Bars,
no ward pattern.
Bars.
He does have the ultimate, lands on the Fear Fracture, Chain of Corruption will lock her down. That'll be a kill pass over to Lee. Great pick out there.
And now they're fighting over red buff.
Dwight and Okan
Kind of a wet noodle fight. Like, I have a bigger doodle. They don't really want to fight over it. But we got another dragon coming up here. Since the AD carry is down and the top laners are fighting each other, Hecarim may be able to charge in and smite steal. We want to be careful of that, and we do have Monsoon to cover his retreat, as well as this fight still going on in red buff.
Again, over red buff, but now Funky B's here to back up Okan. Both Dwight still really tanky, not quite enough. Okan does go quite low.
And the dragon does go over. It looks like Hecarim isn't going to contest it. They sent a bit too many resources up there to try and fight this Trundle. He's not that big.
Right.
Like, Trundle hasn't gotten to that point. Now he has that Trinity Force, and now he's going to be a big problem to anything further. But I don't know. I really don't see... I really would have preferred Hecarim to try and counter. Now that's a second dragon going over. Cloud Drake, and next will be another Infernal spawning. We're seeing a lot of Infernals today.
Yeah, it's a good, feels good, man.
I mean, Infernals are great to see, but it's really annoying when you see two Clouds and two Ocean Drakes. Like, you can never fight a team with those. They're a little underrated.
Right. And again, I'm going to ask you here, Lucas. We see the two teams kind of neck and neck here. What are they going to want to do to try and bully each other out, kind of secure a lead?
Pick your win cons and who you need to target. Talia is big, so big right now, but your Corki and Varus, they're equally as big. 2-1 against the 3-1. She's really ahead in farm with the most kills participation of almost anyone in this game, only beat up by Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai is actually doing very well by staying relevant, staying ganking, and really keeping your head in this
trying to close
too.
up the gap on Sweat. He should be able to get out of here real quick, though.
Look at this level of discrepancy between Hear Me Roar and Peter. Just now closing that to 1. Hear Me Roar is doing a really good job of farming and staying in the jungle and, again, just staying relevant. And looking at that, finding Talia.
Caught out. No swoop. Let's to pull back. Onslaught of Shadows onto 3 members of Macalester. Swide might be falling down here. Oh, that will be her.
Go.
Pretty caught out, I don't honestly. Trying to get a little too greedy on Funky D, I feel.
See, the thing is with Trundle, that was a bit of a misposition that he didn't even see. Trundle flashing into the team and then getting monsooned away, that's what you were expecting. That play coming out from Jana being big.
Ooh,
so big.
I think again being picked out here. We're seeing Fear Fracture hurled onto his ace in the hole as well, not kind of using it for poke as we saw last game.
So, what they're doing well is, so we have Macalester doing really well on objectives. They have 2 dragons, 2 towers, and they're up in gold. But they can't convert that to team fights and winning. They can't convert that because they have a big team fight oriented team, and Jana sitting in the back line ready to save Talia, ready to save Caitlyn whenever they need it with that monsoon. That was beautifully played and really knocked Trundle out of his element.
Oh man.
There's a lot of CC. If you look at this team on Winona's side, the snares, the knockups, the knockarounds, and we haven't really even seen Hecarim's charge be too much of an impact yet.
Something to look at too. Swide just kind of taking that. Peter might want to get the scuttle out of Swide too.
Well, now they're all trying to form up around Rift Herald. They got a minute of it left, and it looks like they're just going to concede. That's what you get when you give up Scuttler. I don't. They may know. They may just not be thinking it's worth it. Again, this is the first time we're seeing Rift Herald actually contested, gone for in today's matches. Going right over to Trundle, and that's just going to mean he's more of a single push, solo push, than ever.
Right, and that's who you want to give it to, honestly. You just want to give it to Swide so you can just split push all game.
Yeah, Swide is going to be a huge just thorn in their side. He's already going even with Maokai, even when he's behind. And now they're fighting over blue buff. What is up with this team? We've seen more fights over basic buffs than objectives.
Hey man, you gotta tell them to get out of my jungle.
We do see a lot of wards in that bottom blue side. So we're definitely going to see a contest over this next dragon. That second Infernal is going to be important. There we go.
Peter takes a lot of damage. Meanwhile, Funky D trying to get some damage back onto Lee. Ooh, gets him out of there. For Funky B, Lee sticking around for maybe I did quite a bit onto Okan, but he's trying to escape.
It's going to be a harder fight for that dragon now that ADC is taken off the field. We might see them rush it, but it looks like Peter's going to be opting to try and take out this kill on Trundle, which he doesn't have wards in the jungle. Ward life matters, guys.
I'm actually trying to...
Now they're looking at this dragon. So we're probably going to see a fight here. There's a lot of wards coming out from the blue side. Caitlyn's going to help take those out. But Scuttler's going to be around for another 30 seconds or so.
Okay. Macalester is going to be going into that pretty blind though. Peter kind of dancing around.
No offensive wards coming from Macalester. You're completely right. And the control wards that they did have, they're going down pretty darn quick. Swide is now on scene. Big troll on deck.
Winona just kind of standing around. Death sentence onto Peter. A big play coming out. Box will trap up a lot of the team here. Meanwhile, Nightfall falls.
Beautiful arrow!
Lee gets sleep with the piercing arrow. Meanwhile, Swide going really low, trying to get this Funky D out of here. No boots will pick up the kill. Peter kind of dashes through and gets no boots. Meanwhile, there's a mess going on here while Okan Ball.
Oh! Sweet Jesus!
Be enough.
And
As
there's the troll. There's the troll. Going back at it with the ice club.
3 members of Macalester barely making out alive. Real mess there, the team fight.
barely making it out alive, but they played so well. You can't even begin to start analyzing how well Lee being able to get that kill on Jana, who now is the first one up, but she's the only one that has a chance of defending anything. But it looks Hecarim needs to book it to that dragon. Yes, they're all low, but they're still big threats. We still have Chain of Corruption ready at the moment Hecarim tries to pop him, and we're going to see some lifesteal. There's the Lantern going in. Fresh is going to be jumping in. It looks like Lee, you're going to use that Chain of Corruption. Lee, you're just going to hang out there.
Kind of awkward to be stuck in a dragon pit like that. Hear Me Roar's going to try and sway Peter off.
Beautiful play by Hear Me Roar. Again, going back to the last team fight, so we saw Lee pick up a very, very good kill on getting Get Sleeped out of there with that arrow. Beautiful play. Hecarim going to be getting killed to, I believe it was Rek'Sai. Trundle almost went down to a ace in the hole coming out from Caitlyn, which is what we want to see, using that ultimate. But Lee took that body shot for him, which allowed him to secure the kill onto Maokai, and thus gave them the tower and the dragon with that troll sustain. Beautiful fucking play.
Lee trying to get some poke damage down. Doesn't really find anything. Oh boy. A lot of the map open.
A lot of the map open, and look at that beautiful, cute little penguin ward on Raptor. Sorry. Again, a lot of vision is coming out here. Like it's not like anything is a secret right now. We do see a lot of wards on the bottom side of the jungle. Trundle is going to be trying to push this top tower, and he's going to be finding Maokai.
So I'd put something to it. Trying to get Ocambo trapped. He won't be able to get a kill, but definitely puts him down really low.
That's a fast swinging club.
Death Sentence hits Get Sleep. The Flame puts him even closer. Doesn't quite get a kill there. Lee missing the kill. Chain of Corruption hits Funky B. Peter now gets wrapped up. Still not able to secure any kills. CP coming in. Here's gets Flame. Gets popped by no two. Meanwhile, Ocambo tries to kill Caitlyn. Just get that. Now there's going to be some action coming back here. Lee does get killed. No boots. So close to death. Form Nightfall tries to save his life. The Death Sentence doesn't quite work out, and now he's caught out here by Blue Buff. Tries to be subtle. Almost gets away with it.
I thought she missed it. I thought she missed it.
That is a 4-for-2 in favor of Winona. Meanwhile, though, Trundle in the top lane just been smacking down this third. That's going to be inhib.
Beautiful pillar to slow down the Hecarim, completely dissuade him from going any further. Really good plays down in the bottom, but when Hecarim came on site, he just completely dominated. Going forth with the charge, coming back with the knockback, keeping them in the tower range. Caitlyn going down almost. Actually, she did get picked up by the Corky Phosphorus Bomb. Was beautiful plays, but they weren't able to keep it in fair territory.
It was a really bad fight, considering, too. Like, Macalester had so much going for them, and then they kind of just fell apart there.
But look back what I said earlier, where Macalester's really good at getting objectives, but they're not winning team fights. They have 5k lead, but no kills. They're up 2 dragons and 6 towers, but they're not making much of it. When it comes to these fights, we're seeing a dominance coming out from Talia. Funky B is so impressive on that on that champion. She's really leaving a mark everywhere she goes.
Death Sentence hits Funky B. Won't be enough.
They don't want to commit when you got Hecarim and Moon right there.
Yeah, gonna be a bit too close for them.
Every single person's got their ultimates on deck right now. We do see them grouping around top. Trundle is
kind of fishing for something here. Maybe he stayed a bit too long. Gonna have to run for the hills.
Smart not to try and use the ace in the hole. They know that there's allies nearby and that it's not going to be enough to get through that thick hide of Rek'Sai. But now we see Trundle shoving this bottom lane.
Yeah.
So, go on.
I was gonna say maybe it's just trying to knock down more and more objectives.
Again, Trundle is going to be too much for this Maokai to handle. Look at that single bite.
Okan really gonna have to try and dissuade Swag from getting a tower here.
So if they don't, this tower could go down. Swag could just tank him. Maokai just does not do enough damage to dissuade Trundle from getting this objective. He needs help, but if they send help, they're going to be giving up Baron. We do see another dragon coming on deck. It's going to be a Ocean Drake this time.
Okan taking so much damage here. Maybe not so much, but enough to drop him around the 50% mark. Meanwhile, Enemy Roar tries to pick out Get Sleep.
Using that Monsoon to save herself might be a problem when it comes later on. Especially when you see Fear Fracture get chunked.
Wait, we see Swag. Welcome go for a flank. Gets decided out. Funky B now says we might punish you. He's overstayed.
Oh!
Funky B. And now that's Baron.
That is, again, as I called it, they're going to be going and trying to focus on him, but they're going to be giving up the Baron. And what Macalester is doing is objectives. They're getting Baron, they're getting dragons. It's going to be up in 3 seconds. This may be the first dragon that we see go over to Winona, but if they're not able to secure it, this is going to be highly contested. Hecarim needs to get over there now, but they're going to be giving it up, and they're recalling with full health? I'm kind of tilted. Now we see Rek'Sai and Thresh go beelining. They're expecting resistance, but we lost all wards on the side of Winona.
Right. Let's see here. What are the next steps, you know, for Macalester to kind of maybe try and finalize a lead here?
Finalizing, this lead is finalized. It's just a matter of securing this win. Pushing towers and getting their objective. If they keep splitting like that, that's working for them. They needed to commit so much just to kill Swide. He's so impactful in this game right now. Trinity Force and Serix Gauge, as well as that Titanic Hydra, he's doing so much damage that the tank can't even hold up to him alone. The only one that may be able to hold up against Swide is going to be Hecarim, or maybe Caitlyn with a red buff if she can kite well. But we've seen Swide be knocking up so much with his pillar. He's a really big threat to anyone on their team right now.
We're starting to see a bit of a dance going around here in the middle lane. The siege will soon start, and we're probably going to see a team fight.
There's going to be not much of a siege, just more of a diversion. Again, we do see Swide going down, securing that bottom tower, and now we're at an 8k lead.
It's gonna be
8k gold lead, 7 towers, 4 dragons.
Swide tries to take on Peter. Peter says, oh, you know what, maybe this was a bad decision. I need to get out of here.
He's trying to nope out on 4 legs.
Flash death sentence from Stormic does miss. Meanwhile, Enemy Roar does get a knockup on the Funky Bee, trying to do a lot of damage. No Boots getting chunked out really hard. Meanwhile, the Piercing Arrow not doing quite as much work. Enemy Roar needs to start running for the hills. Get Sleep does get hit by the Chain of Corruption, which should lock up his team, but not for too long. Varus trying to get some stuff going on here. Gets a double kill. Gets a triple kill.
And again, look, we're going to be seeing
Almost
this.
gets a quadra kill. Not quite enough damage.
We're going to be seeing Swide. That was a great diversion, guys. Now you lost 2 inhibitors because Swide can beat anyone on the team. Hecarim was running for his life away from Swide. Now we see Rek'Sai and Trundle just roaming about the enemy jungle. We see a couple of last pickups. We're nearing full builds on these items. 5 built on Varus. And we're getting to the point of no return. So they're winning now. It's not that they're losing team fights, it's that they're keeping. They're keeping the trades. They're 17-17. There's no point where they're letting Winona get ahead in kills. They're going kill for kill. Even when we see Varus like try to get one more, they're still not losing out.
That or that near quadra kill put him from like a really soft 4-4 to a 7-4. Really helping him get up here, but still not much armor pen or lethality.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. We're just trying to see maybe a setup for mid. What do you think here, Donahue?
So we do see more wards on the right side. You do want to see a setup for mid because that's going to be the easiest solution. You got a 3 in mid. You have so much pressure in siege. You have Varus, you have Corki, you have your long range poke, but you also have your Rek'Sai and Thresh that can get into the back line, and you have your Trundle that's going to just be pushing another lane with those super minions. This tower is not going to be lasting long, and they are not fighting as strong as they need to.
Down. Peter does use Onslaught of Shadows. Meanwhile, Getsleep is getting targeted and chunked down so close to death. Trundle will finish off the kill. Meanwhile, Caitlyn drops as well. Swy doing so much here. Gets a triple kill. Varus will finish off Varus. Or Varus will finish off Peter, excuse me.
And that's going to be game.
Looking like game here.
And that's going to be just securing it right there. Punky P going down. Not a single loss in that fight for them.
GG, well played. Macalester coming out with the win after a 33-minute game. Sub 34.
Beautiful game. Very well done by Macalester. Really just supreme play on that Trundle. Being a big enough threat that he was always relevant no matter what lane he was in. If you left him alone, you lost your inner turret, you lost your inhibitor, you lost everything to that Trundle pushing, going top, going to bottom, and just distracting you, being a huge problem that you needed to solve but couldn't get away with just a simple solution.
Yeah, that's essentially what he did the whole time. Even in the beginning, you know, they gave up early team fights, but Trundle was still creating a lot of global pressure.
Mm-hmm. Again, and with 4 dragons and with that much gold lead, it really showed when you see just that much damage coming out of Varus, of Corki. There's just so much suppressing fire and a lot of just who do you go for in that situation? Even Rek'Sai is a threat with a Cinderhulk and a Titanic Hydra. She's going to be tearing up your backline. Has the most kill participation in the game.
With that, that'll do it from us, though. 3 great games tonight. Thank you to the viewers for coming out, watching the games, watching these players duke it out. That'll be it from us over here.
All right.